In the realm of British aristocracy, true power has always resided behind closed doors. Indeed, the great houses of Britain's noble families aren't just architectural masterpieces, they're fortresses of secrets, where the fate of nations has often hinged on conversations whispered in private libraries and deals struck in candlelit drawing rooms. And these mansions have witnessed the rise and fall of empires, sheltered fugitive monarchs, and harboured evidence of betrayals that could have rewritten history. Their walls have absorbed the echoes of midnight conspiracies and morning-after regrets, of marriages made for advantage and inheritances lost to scandal. Today, we examine how, beneath their perfectly maintained exteriors, lies a labyrinth of stories waiting to be uncovered. Tales that reveal not just the history of individual families, but the very essence of power in British society. Nestled in the lush rolling hills of West Sussex, Arundel Castle stands as a stunning, iconic example of medieval English architectural magnificence and historical grandeur. With its towering keep and fairy tale turrets, the castle commands awe-inspiring views across the Arun Valley, drawing visitors from around the globe to bask in its opulent halls and exquisite gardens. And as you stroll through its lavishly decorated rooms, it is easy to be transported back through centuries of royal banquets and splendid ceremonies, each corner and corridor echoing the footsteps of dukes and duchesses. Yet, behind its imposing facade and majestic presence, Arundel Castle harbours a lesser-known legacy of vulnerability and decay. Indeed, there was a time when this iconic edifice of heritage and power teetered on the edge of ruin, neglected for years, and the once resplendent castle once even faced the grim prospect of disrepair and deterioration, risking the loss of its historical essence and architectural beauty. In today's episode, we'll explain how such a legendary castle avoided this harrowing end, and the meticulous restoration process that saved one of Albion's most beloved structures, as we describe why Britain's historic Arundel Castle escaped destruction. Arundel Castle stands today as a spectacular mosaic of medieval architecture, extensively restored and remodelled over centuries. Initially built during the Norman era by Roger de Montgomery in the 11th century, the castle is a showcase of Norman and Gothic designs, with each architectural element narrating ancient tales. And if you were to visit the castle today, your tour might begin with the keep, the castle's most defining feature, constructed in the 12th century by William d'Albini II. This robust tower, replacing earlier wooden fortifications, commands a view over the River Arun and the South Downs from its vantage on a motte, and climbing its steep, narrow steps offers a glimpse into medieval strategic defences that deterred centuries of invaders. Adjacent lies the formidable gatehouse, built around 1070. This main entry, complete with a portcullis and drawbridge, served as the castle's protective barrier. And even today, its medieval prowess is tangible as you walk beneath its imposing structure. Nearby, the Barbican, an external fortification designed to trap attackers, demonstrates medieval military ingenuity with its thick walls, arrow slits, and battlements. This particular feature was crafted to ensnare enemies in a deadly labyrinth before reaching the castle's inner sanctum. As you move inside, the castle's 19th century Gothic revival enhancements would be evident. Under architect Charles Alban Buckler and the 15th Duke of Norfolk, the castle embraced a Victorian aesthetic, enhancing its medieval foundation with pointed arches, intricate stone carvings, and elaborate tracery. And the Grand Baron's Hall radiates historical presence, lined with portraits of the Dukes of Norfolk and furnished with 16th century continental pieces. This hall, along with the nearby Regency Library, outfitted in Honduras mahogany and home to more than 1,000 books, reflects a blend of regal elegance and scholarly depth, prepared for Queen Victoria's visit in 1846. Now, the ethereal Fitzalan Chapel, founded in 1380 and the burial site of the Dukes of Norfolk, highlights the 19th century Catholic revival in England. Its stained glass windows and decorative mosaics of vases and orange trees create a serene atmosphere, inviting reflection amid its historic and solemn beauty. And outside, the castle's gardens express horticultural mastery. Opened in 2008, the Collector Earl's Garden, designed by Isabel and Julian Bannerman, pays tribute to Thomas Howard, the 14th Earl of Arundel. It features a mix of fantastical and structured elements like a shellwork grotto, a golden fountain, and a rockwork mountain. Central to the garden is a formal court divided by a canal pond, bordered by cascades and surrounded by a wildflower labyrinth. The gardens, under head gardener Martin Duncan since 2009, blend sustainability with tradition. They include a wild water garden, a restored Victorian peach house, and a vinery filled with exotic plants. Of course, the crowning feature of this area is the rose garden, recognized for its meticulously selected blooms that contribute to a contemporary floral tapestry which earned the 2021 South and Southeast in Bloom Gold Award. Moreover, the gardens transform into a vibrant display during the annual Tulip Festival, featuring over 120,000 tulips in a dazzling array of colours. Yet, there was a time in the not-too-distant past where this breathtaking estate was on the brink of decay and largely forgotten by its illustrious owners, the Dukes of Norfolk. Let's turn over to the next chapter to find out exactly how Arundel Castle went from a borderline set of ruins to the majestic refurbished masterpiece we get to enjoy in the 21st century. Arundel Castle's foundations are deeply rooted in the drama of 1066's Norman conquest, and this formidable fortress owes its inception to the strategic savvy of Roger de Montgomery, cousin and right-hand man to none other than William the Conqueror. Now, while Roger did not clash swords at the Battle of Hastings, his contribution was no less pivotal. His role as Normandy's governor during William's campaign in England was crucial. With the conquest complete, William rewarded his circle of stalwarts, gifting Roger a sizable swath of Sussex on Christmas Day, 1067. With the newfound title of Earl of Arundel, Roger set about creating a bulwark against any threat to his sovereign's reign. The chosen location was a hill overlooking the River Arun, a site that promised both strategic superiority and panoramic views of the South Downs. Next, the construction of Arundel Castle began in earnest in 1068 with an ambitious project, an artificial mound or motte, rising over 100 feet above the dry moat. This monumental task symbolized Norman architectural ambition and marked the landscape with a clear signal of the new order. Atop this motte, a wooden keep initially rose, symbolizing the nascent stage of fortification, simple yet effective. Then, the transformation from wood to stone marked a significant evolution in the castle's fortitude. By 1070, the first stone gatehouse had been laid, signifying a shift towards more permanent, imposing structures. This blend of flint rubble and imported Caen stone not only solidified the castle's physical presence, but also its status as an impenetrable Norman stronghold. But Roger's strategic acumen extended beyond construction. The castle's placement on the Arun was no accident. The river was both shield and supply line, a natural moat against invaders and a conduit for resources. This foresight ensured that Arundel Castle was not merely a military installation, but a lifeline in the Norman hold over southern England. And the keep itself is a tale of transformation. Its initial timber form was eventually encased in stone, employing a banded masonry technique that alternated layers of local flint with the lighter tones of Caen stone. And this design both fortified the structure and created a striking pattern that enhanced its aesthetic and structural integrity. Now, as we well know, Arundel's story continued well past Roger's death in 1094, witnessing sieges, royal intrigues, and marriages that would introduce new blood and new chapters to its storied walls. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the legendary guests and hosts that graced the halls of Arundel over the centuries. Arundel Castle has charmed a parade of English monarchs through the centuries, serving up a platter of grand feasts and high-stakes political intrigue, all while doubling as a royal pied-à-terre. And indeed, the castle's entanglement with the echelons of power stretches from the Norman invasion to the crisp folds of the Victorian age. Now, the castle's initial brush with royalty sprouted in the 12th century during King Henry I's reign. Following the demise of Roger de Montgomery, the original Norman mastermind behind the castle, Henry bestowed the fortress and its verdant surroundings to his second wife, Adeliza of Louvain, as part of her dower. Adeliza's subsequent marriage to William d'Aubigny, who was soon anointed the first Earl of Arundel, kicked off a flurry of architectural enhancements, most notably the stone shell keep that crowned the motte. Amidst this backdrop of construction, the castle hosted a crucial chapter in the anarchy, a bruising civil war for the English throne between King Stephen and Empress Matilda. In 1139, after docking nearby, Matilda took shelter at Arundel, enjoying the hospitality of her stepmother, Adeliza. Enraged, King Stephen swiftly encircled the castle, but decided to let Matilda continue her journey to Bristol, sparing Arundel any war scars. Fast forward to the 16th century, and Arundel Castle had woven itself into the fabric of the influential Howard family. The castle transitioned into Howard hands via the marriage of Mary Fitzalan to Thomas Howard, the 4th Duke of Norfolk. However, Thomas's tangled plot to overthrow Elizabeth I and install Mary, Queen of Scots, as ruler led to his tragic execution. The castle's saga took a dramatic turn during the English Civil War, a stark period marked by the clash of royalist and parliamentarian swords. Its strategic significance and stout defences made it a coveted prize, and the conflict saw Arundel Castle change allegiances multiple times, each shift leaving a lasting imprint on its venerable walls. In December 1643, royalist forces under Lord Hopton claimed the castle, bolstering it with a robust garrison. However, this control was fleeting. By month's end, Sir William Waller, a cunning parliamentarian commander, besieged Arundel. Despite the royalists' efforts to fortify their stronghold, the harsh winter and the numerical and artillery superiority of the parliamentarians led to the royalists' capitulation on the 6th of January 1644. The parliamentarian triumph at Arundel was thus a crucial setback for the royalist cause in the region. It allowed the parliamentarians to tighten their grip on Sussex and cut off royalist strongholds. Furthermore, the parliamentarians, determined to thwart any royalist resurgence, ordered the slighting of the castle, a calculated move to strip it of any military utility, leaving its mighty architecture in ruins. Yet, the castle's woes were far from over. Therefore, Arundel Castle fell victim to the ravages of time and political tumult during the late 17th and early 18th centuries. Once a formidable fortress, its glory days dimmed as the castle was eclipsed by the allure of more fashionable urban estates. Owned by the prestigious Dukes of Norfolk, Arundel Castle's decline was not sudden, but rather a gradual surrender to the elements and the era's political shifts. Sadly, the Howards often turned their attentions to their London residence, Norfolk House. There, the pull of political manoeuvrings and the glitter of social galas held more appeal than the maintenance of a draughty old castle set amidst the less frequented landscapes. And the neglect was palpable. Essential repairs were deferred, allowing the relentless English weather to breach the castle's defences. The once sturdy stone walls, left unchecked, began to succumb to the slow but steady assault of wind and rain. Interiors, once echoing with the steps of nobility, began to host only silence and decay, as wooden beams and stonework alike fell prey to the relentless march of time. Despite these adversities, the Howards remained the castle's owners, albeit inattentive ones. The family's gaze was fixed firmly on their urban engagements, leaving Arundel to languish as a picturesque ruin, more useful as a romantic backdrop than a residence. This lack of attention was emblematic of a broader trend among the nobility, who found themselves grappling with the financial and social upheavals that swept through England, reshaping priorities and altering the landscape of aristocratic life. By the turn of the 18th century, Arundel Castle was not merely aging, it was verging on the uninhabitable. Thus, it was only towards the end of the century that efforts to restore the castle began to take shape, driven perhaps by a renewed interest in its historical and architectural significance. The 18th century's reimagining of Arundel Castle under Charles Howard, the spirited drunken Duke and 11th Duke of Norfolk, kicked off an audacious revamp in 1787. Motivated by a zest to both entertain and reside within its storied walls, Howard set about mending scars left by the English Civil War, elevating the castle from mere fortress to a palace of opulence and comfort. Indeed, his penchant for grandiosity is perhaps best encapsulated in the library, a sanctuary of books that today stands as a symbol of his refined taste in design. This refurbishment alone was good enough to host a memorable visit by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert in December 1846. You see, the 13th Duke of Norfolk, Henry Charles Howard, had spruced up the castle for their arrival, commissioning fresh furniture for the royal suite. The town joined in the celebration, erecting a triumphal arch and lighting the castle's keep with a fiery salute. Queen Victoria, charmed by the castle's allure and the spirited reception, penned in her diary her pleasure at the small but very cheerful accommodations. The visit was marked by opulent feasts in the transformed baronial chapel, with the table shining under the glow of gold candelabras and framed by historic coronation cups. Next, Henry Fitzalan Howard, the 15th Duke of Norfolk, approached an even more elaborate restoring of Arundel Castle with youthful vigour and a profound sense of legacy. Inheriting the dukedom at a tender age in 1847, he embarked on a restoration saga in the 1870s that would span decades, and his mission was to mesh the majestic echoes of the past with the conveniences of the present. Under the watchful eye of architect Charles Alban Buckler, the castle underwent what could only be described as a Victorian metamorphosis. The Duke's vision brought forth a new chapel, its Gothic revival bones crafted between 1894 and 1898, boasting Purbeck marble and a feast of stained glass and intricate carvings, each a whisper of medieval grandeur reborn. Yet, it was the broader canvas of the Gothic revival that truly transformed Arundel Castle. The castle's interiors were transformed with the addition of Gothic elements, including pointed arches, ribbed vaults, and elaborate stone carvings. The Baron's Hall, for example, is a distinguished exercise in mid-13th century Gothic style, with its Purbeck marble, rich stone carving, and Hardman stained glass. The chapel, another significant addition, features Gothic wrought iron standard lights and other period-appropriate fixtures, enhancing the sumptuous quality of the architecture. In addition to the architectural enhancements, the 15th Duke also focused on modernizing the castle's infrastructure. Arundel Castle became one of the first English country houses to be fitted with electric lighting, central heating, and integral firefighting equipment. The installation of these modern amenities was a significant undertaking, with the cost of electricity alone amounting to over £36,000. The Duke also ensured that the castle's water supply, which was gravity-fed, served both the castle and the town of Arundel. Preserving the majesty of Arundel Castle has been an ongoing mission, marked by significant conservation endeavours. The Norman Keep, the castle's oldest portion dating back to 1067, recently underwent a once-in-a-century facelift, and part of this monumental effort included the restoration of opulent 270-year-old wall hangings. The Gobelin masterpieces from the Nouvelles Indes collection, crafted circa 1750, underwent a meticulous process of removal, cleansing and reinstallation, underscoring the castle's dedication to its historical treasures. These days, technological tools have become essential allies in safeguarding the architectural splendour of Arundel Castle, and techniques such as 3D laser scanning and photogrammetry have enabled precise documentation of the castle's elaborate architecture and ornamental details. These digital methodologies foster the creation of exact replicas for restoration purposes and conserve digital archives for posterity. Moreover, cutting-edge structural health monitoring systems are employed to track environmental and structural parameters, including vibrations and humidity. These systems deliver crucial real-time insights, allowing conservators and engineers to preemptively tackle potential issues, thereby securing the castle's structural integrity for future generations to admire and explore. Nestled in the heart of Northumberland, Alnwick Castle stands as a colossal giant, its stone ramparts and spiralling turrets reaching skyward, commanding the English landscape with a majesty that whispers of its ancient origins. And this castle, the largest of its kind in Britain not inhabited by the royal family itself, has been the prestigious stronghold of the Percy family, embodying a legacy steeped in nobility and the tumultuous history of British aristocracy. Yet, despite its initial splendour, there came a darker era when Alnwick's mighty halls fell silent. Indeed, the Percy family, once the very lifeblood of the castle, withdrew, leaving it essentially abandoned and a hollow echo of its former self. The grand dining halls, which had hosted kings and queens, lay deserted. The lush, expansive gardens grew wild and untamed. Alnwick Castle, a jewel of medieval architecture, seemed destined to crumble away, forgotten by time. But fate had a grander vision. With a resilience forged from centuries of monumental cultural importance, Alnwick Castle rose once more. Through vigorous restoration efforts, fueled by legendary architects and horticulturalists spanning hundreds of years, the castle was reborn. In today's episode, we'll not only give you a guided tour of this illustrious home, but also dive a bit deeper and explain how one of England's most beautiful castles avoided the wrecking ball, as we describe why the UK's largest private castle was abandoned, the wild history of Alnwick Castle. Alnwick Castle, nestled like a medieval dream in the verdant folds of Northumberland, England, carries the weight of history with a flair that's almost cheeky. Indeed, it's the largest castle in the UK not inhabited by the royal family itself, and has been the Percy family's pad for over 7 centuries, and the 12th Duke of Northumberland, Ralph Percy, has the keys to the kingdom now, having bagged the title and the castle back in 1995. Now, the Percys took the real estate plunge in 1309 when Lord Henry Percy snapped up the castle and the barony of Alnwick. And since then, it's been a generational hand-me-down, albeit one with stone walls and a few drafts. Over the years, the castle has played host to a parade of Percys who were warriors, strategists, and diplomats, ensuring that family dinners were probably never dull. But Alnwick Castle isn't just about dusty old history books. It's a star of the screen too. Thus, if the stone walls could talk, they'd name-drop quite a bit. This medieval marvel has moonlighted as Hogwarts in the first 2 Harry Potter flicks, where it taught young wizards the finer points of broomstick management and Quidditch, and when, not doubling as a school for magic, Alnwick has rubbed shoulders with the aristocracy of Downton Abbey as the grand Brancaster Castle in the show's Christmas specials. It's even done a stint in the robot-riddled world of Transformers: The Last Knight. Other credits include playing host to Cate Blanchett's Queen Elizabeth I in Elizabeth and serving as a backdrop in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. But the castle's cinematic repertoire stretches even further back, with turns in The Scarlet Pimpernel and Roman Polanski's Macbeth. And beyond its film credits, Alnwick Castle is a fortress to be reckoned with. The structure boasts a double bailey layout. That's castle speak for 2 rings of defence walls. At its core, the shell keep is a circle of 10 towers, quite the architectural twist compared to the usual square keeps of its peers. The castle's aesthetic is further completed by an ensemble of towers and turrets. The octagon and bow towers make a striking duo by the entrance, practically winking at visitors. And the castle's practical side includes 10 other towers like the postern tower, constable's tower and the clock tower, each adding a chapter to Alnwick's long story. Some are D-shaped, a medieval hack for better defence, while others are more rectangular, offering cushier digs for their inhabitants. The gatehouse, defended by 2 semi-octagonal towers, throws in a barbican for good measure, because why have one line of defence when you can have 2? Now, upon entering Alnwick Castle, visitors find themselves whisked into a realm where opulence meshes with centuries of history. The staterooms, given a facelift in the 19th century, are a symbol of the Percy family's penchant for splendour and sophisticated taste. Certainly, the lower and upper guard chambers don't just greet guests. They dazzle with a collection of arms and accoutrements, relics from the late 18th century that have seen their share of stories. Yet, the pièce de résistance of the castle's interiors is undoubtedly the library. Nestled within the vastness of a large tower added during the 19th century renovations, it is a bibliophile's paradise with nearly 15,000 tomes. And the drawing room, dripping in Italianate grandeur, flaunts a ceiling that's a riot of carved, painted and gilded artistry, silk wall hangings and a mirror that's more overmantel than mere reflection. Then the Great Hall, reborn as the state dining room, remains the throbbing heart of castle life, a medieval space continually pulsing with the beat of the present-day Percy family. Not to be outshone, the China Gallery parades a formidable array of Meissen, Chelsea and Paris ceramics, an opulent nod to the European porcelain palaces of yesteryears. But the allure of Alnwick doesn't stop at the castle doors. The Alnwick Garden, a visionary creation by the Duchess of Northumberland in 2001, combines horticultural finesse with contemporary design in a charity setting. The layout is a tapestry of unique horticultural sections that bewitch and bedazzle visitors. Take the Grand Cascade, for instance, a theatrical water display that plays out its dramatic sequences every half hour. Sponsored by Sage Wealth Management, this aquatic ballet takes place on a landscaped hillside with serpentine paths providing various vantage points to witness the water's dance. A darker allure is found in the Poison Garden, encased in mystery and danger, where about 100 toxic, intoxicating and narcotic plants thrive behind bars, literally. This garden, with its ivy-draped tunnels and flame-shaped beds, offers guided tours that delve into the lethal, the historical, and the downright scandalous stories of plants used in infamous poisonings. Not all is deadly in the gardens, however. The Serpent Garden weds physics with fun, offering an interactive water playground that delights families, while the Rose Garden is a fragrant feast of 3,000 English roses, including the celebrated Alnwick Rose, unveiled at the 2001 Chelsea Flower Show. Adding to the artistic flair, a bronze sculpture by Barbara Hepworth, Ascending Form, graces the garden, on loan from the Arts Council. Thus, these days, Alnwick Castle is more than just a historical artifact, it's a vibrant cultural hub. With an array of tours, events and exhibitions, the castle and its gardens offer an immersive experience into the lives of the Percy family and beyond. And yet, there was a time in which this majestic abode laid abandoned and deserted, ravaged by centuries of war on Albion. In order to find out how it got that way and how it made its magnificent resurgence, we'll have to go back in time to the days of William the Conqueror. The saga of Alnwick Castle, a beacon of medieval might in England, stretches back nearly a millennium to 1096. That's when Yves de Vesey, a Norman baron of no small ambition, recognised a good thing near the Scottish border. He started with a humble Motte Bailey, basically the starter castle model, to assert Norman clout and ward off any Scottish party crashes. The de Vesey family wasn't content with basic, however. By the 12th century, they began swapping wood for stone, upgrading their home to better reflect their burgeoning status and fortify against the ceaseless neighbourhood squabbles of medieval Northumberland. Therefore, this locale wasn't just prime real estate, it was a critical bulwark in England's defensive line, earning its stripes in skirmishes galore. By the time the 12th and 13th centuries rolled around, Alnwick wasn't just a castle, it was a key player in the Anglo-Scottish soap opera. It stood firm against the likes of William the Lion, King of Scotland, who found Alnwick's defences a tough nut to crack in 1172. The castle's resilience in repelling William's forces solidified its rep as a fortress not to be messed with. Drama escalated in 1215 when King John, the trust-no-one type, ordered Alnwick's destruction, suspecting Eustace de Vesey of backstabbing. The castle's stones, however, remained unturned, showcasing the intrigue that swirled around this northern citadel. The de Vesey era wrapped up in 1297, the family tree having run out of male heirs, leading to a game of feudal hot potato until Henry Percy grabbed it in 1309. Enter the Percy dynasty, and Alnwick's narrative took on new layers. The 13th century had the castle beefing up its walls and towers, gearing up to deflect Scottish raids and throw some punches of its own. However, Alnwick wasn't all about warfare. It also blossomed as a cultural and political hub. The Percy lords didn't just fight, they ruled, feasted and played host to royalty, turning the castle into a northern nexus of medieval magnificence. But the Percy touch in the 14th century also transformed Alnwick beyond a mere military outpost. Under their watch, the castle sprouted additional towers and garrets, enhancing its fortifications while also boosting its residential appeal. And stone figures began to haunt the battlements, part decor, part psychological warfare, to befuddle any attackers. But this period wasn't just about architectural upgrades. In 1327, King Robert the Bruce of Scotland tested Alnwick's mettle with a siege, but the Percy fortified defences stood their ground. By century's end, Alnwick had morphed from a basic Norman construct into a robust emblem of feudal endurance. As the 15th century dawned, Alnwick Castle teemed with life, balancing military duties with the domestic bustle. It was a hive of activity for the Percy nobility, from knights and soldiers bracing for battle to servants and craftsmen maintaining the daily grind. Thus, with a clear division of roles, the castle operated like a well-oiled medieval machine. Whether it was managing vast estates, entertaining high-profile guests, or maintaining readiness for combat, Alnwick Castle was both a stage and a fortress, a place where history was not only made, but lived. However, the coming centuries would take the castle from strength to weakness, as abandonment and desertion for the illustrious building waited in the shadows. The year 1572 brought dark clouds over Alnwick Castle with the execution of Thomas Percy, the 7th Earl of Northumberland, and his staunch Catholic faith led him to the ill-fated rising of the North against Queen Elizabeth I. After the rebellion's flop, he escaped to Scotland, only to be captured and held captive at Lochleven Castle. 3 years and £2,000 later, he was sold to the English government and beheaded in York for his troubles. On that grim day in August 1572, as Thomas Percy faced the axe on pavement in York, he declined a life-saving renunciation of his faith, opting instead for martyrdom, and his execution not only heralded a loss for the Percys, but also signalled the forfeiture of various titles and lands, though, through a quirk of legal fate, not all was lost. Next, this period saw the younger brother, Henry Percy, stepping into the title as the 8th Earl of Northumberland, navigating the turbulent waters left by Thomas's political and religious fervour. Alnwick Castle, amidst these upheavals, faced its own set of challenges, its stature and influence waning in the shadow of rebellion and retribution. As the calendar pages turned to the 17th century, Alnwick Castle slipped further from its former glory, succumbing to neglect as the Percy family favoured their southern residences. The once vibrant castle began to crumble, its battlements no longer bustling with the energy of yesteryears, and the shift in the family's attentions left the castle a mere shadow of its past. The English Civil War, however, thrust Alnwick back into strategic prominence. You see, Oliver Cromwell, spotting its value on the chessboard of his military campaigns, seized the castle for his uses. Unfortunately, the garrison life and war demands did no favours to the structure's integrity, hastening its decline into disrepair. By the time the 17th century drew to a close, Alnwick Castle was not much more than a picturesque ruin. Trees rooted in its walls as nature reclaimed its stones. A telling piece from this era, a painting by Peter Hartover, captures the desolate state of its chapel, underscoring the depth of its fall from grace. The 18th century, however, would mark a renaissance for Alnwick Castle, spearheaded by the visionary architect Robert Adam. Tasked with its restoration from 1769 to 1783, visionary architect Robert Adam infused Alnwick Castle with the neoclassical elegance of the Adam Gothic revival style. And his efforts were not confined to mere beautification, but extended to fortifying the castle's social stature through lavish redesigns of the principal rooms and even the external structures like Hulne Abbey and the Lion Bridge. Preceding Adam, architects James Pain and Daniel Garrett laid the groundwork for Alnwick's revival. Pain, from 1754 to 1768, focused on making the ruins habitable again, blending functionality with elegance. Garrett, on the other hand, introduced Rococo plasterwork and Gothic revival elements that would define much of the castle's early restoration efforts. Not to be overlooked, the landscape architect Lancelot Capability Brown reshaped the castle's surroundings into the picturesque parkland seen today. His work from around 1765 not only enhanced the castle's aesthetic, but also its geographical narrative, with carefully designed weirs and raised causeways that framed the castle dramatically against the Northumberland countryside. Thus, through the combined genius of architects and landscapers, Alnwick Castle was reborn, a fortress restored not just in stone and mortar, but as a symbol of enduring legacy and architectural grandeur, ready to face the centuries anew. Next, Algernon Percy, the fourth Duke of Northumberland, brought a veritable renaissance to Alnwick Castle when he assumed the dukedom in 1847. Born in 1792 and seasoned by a distinguished naval career, Algernon was a man of cultivated tastes, his passions ranging from the celestial in astronomy to the earthly in archaeology and the arts. It was in 1854, with the ink still fresh on his title, that he embarked on a grand project to revamp the venerable castle, ensuring it mirrored both his status and eclectic interests. At the spry age of 62, Algernon envisioned the ancient fortress as a beacon of both medieval splendor and modern comfort, a palace fit for a duke of the industrial age, yet resonant with echoes of its storied past. To realize this vision, he enlisted Anthony Salvin, an architect celebrated for his deft touch in reviving medieval structures. Salvin's portfolio boasted meticulous restorations of Norwich, Newark, and Carisbrooke castles, marking him as the ideal craftsman for Algernon's ambitious endeavour. The blueprint for Alnwick's transformation was both respectful of its ancient bones and eager for modern flesh. Salvin's plans strived for a balance, enhancing the castle's historic martial facade while weaving in the comforts expected by 19th century aristocracy. One of the boldest moves was the erection of the Prudhoe Tower, a new addition that replaced an older structure, offering luxurious quarters that merged seamlessly with the medieval aesthetic. And externally, Salvin's touch was subtle yet profound. He replaced anachronistic sash windows with lancets and mullioned windows, aligning more authentically with the castle's original period. The entrance was grandly redefined by a new porte cochere, elevating the first impressions of arriving guests to that of regal splendor. Internally, the overhaul was more radical. Salvin reimagined the flow and function of Alnwick's inner sanctums, aiming to brighten living spaces with natural light and improve connectivity between rooms. This was not merely a facelift, but a reconfiguration of the castle's heart, aligning its chambers and halls with both the practicalities of contemporary life and the ceremonial duties of a duke's residence. And Algernon's ambitions for Alnwick went beyond mere architecture. He envisaged the castle not just as a family home, but as a gallery for his extensive art collection and a testament to his diverse scholarly interests. Therefore, under his guidance, the restoration became a cultural project, embedding his personal legacy within the very stones of Alnwick. As the work unfolded, it became clear that this was no ordinary renovation. The project, under the dual stewardship of Algernon and Salvin, was transforming Alnwick Castle into a paragon of how modern sensibilities and historical reverence could coexist. By the time the last scaffold was dismantled, Alnwick had been metamorphosed into a residence that was as much a museum of the Duke's tastes as it was a fortress of old. It would then be in our modern 21st century that Alnwick would be seen by millions at perhaps its most beautiful time ever. The modern 21st century Alnwick Castle masterfully balances its ancient heritage with the buzz of modern life. And Alnwick's allure now extends beyond its aesthetic achievements, morphing into a veritable playground of historical reenactments and interactive tours. The castle grounds resonate with the echoes of broomstick training sessions, a nod to its cinematic alter ego, Hogwarts. Archery lessons pull another thread from the medieval fabric, offering hands-on engagement with the castle's combative past. These initiatives serve dual purposes: enchantment and education, pulling visitors deep into the folds of Alnwick's rich narrative. With an eye always on the horizon, Alnwick is a fortress in flux, committed to both preserving its skeletal integrity and enhancing its visitor appeal. Recent restoration efforts have seen the fortification of its curtain walls and the embellishment of its architectural details, ensuring it stands robust against the ravages of time. Even the minutiae, like the installation of lightning conductors, are handled with a care that respects the past while safeguarding the future. And the future vision for Alnwick stretches beyond the immediate confines of the castle. A key project on the horizon is the rejuvenation of Alnwick Station, a Victorian relic now home to the beloved Barter books. This initiative will preserve the structure's historic essence while enhancing its community value. Similarly, the Percy tenantry column is set for a makeover that includes energy-efficient lighting solutions, blending historical reverence with modern sustainability. As Alnwick Castle strides into the future, it continues to wear its triple crown with grace, as a family residence, a beacon of history, and a vibrant tourist hub. Through a synthesis of preservation, innovation, and robust public engagement, it stands poised to keep its legacy vibrant and accessible for future generations, ensuring that the castle remains not only a repository of history, but a cornerstone of cultural vitality. Among the ranks of British aristocracy, the Cavendish family, the Dukes of Devonshire, stands out with a rich heritage. Tracing their roots back to the Norman conquest, they've managed to hang on to their hefty slice of history without seeming like they're just relics in a museum. Indeed, the Cavendishes have not only endured but flourished, adeptly navigating the financial intricacies of the 21st century, while preserving a connection to customs and values going back nearly 1,000 years. In today's episode of Old Money Mansions, we take you on a tour through the Cavendish family's grand estates and residences, uncovering the opulent symbols of their historic legacy as we explore the ancestral homes of the Cavendish dynasty. Number 1. Chatsworth House. First on our list of the Cavendish family's old money mansions will, of course, be the most iconic. Undoubtedly, Chatsworth House in Derbyshire has been the magnificent ancestral home of the Cavendish family since 1549, when Bess of Hardwicke and her second husband, Sir William Cavendish, acquired it. And 17 generations of the Devonshire family have called this architectural gem home, making it a living chapter in British history. And this Grade 1 listed marvel stands out for its grandeur and extensive art collections, evolving over centuries to reflect the eclectic tastes of its occupants. Among the notable figures is William Cavendish, the first Duke of Devonshire, a key player in the Glorious Revolution of 1688. Now, Chatsworth's guest book reads like a who's who of history and celebrity. King William III and Queen Mary II were among its distinguished visitors in the 17th century, while Princess Victoria, later Queen Victoria, had her first formal adult dinner here in 1832. Additionally, the estate's appeal even extends to the silver screen, featuring in films like Pride and Prejudice and The Duchess. Today, Chatsworth is managed by the Chatsworth House Trust, a charitable foundation established in 1981 to preserve its splendour for public enjoyment. But the 12th Duke of Devonshire, Peregrine Cavendish, and his wife Amanda continue to reside here, maintaining a vibrant connection to the estate's storied past. Now, spanning 35,000 acres, Chatsworth includes several sub-estates: the Main Estate, West Estate, Shottle Estate, Staveley Estate, and Scarecliffe Estate. The Main Estate, covering 12,300 acres, forms the heart of Chatsworth. This central area, featuring the park and picturesque villages like Baslow and Pilsley, showcases landscape artistry by renowned architects such as Capability Brown. And the River Derwent meanders through this serene expanse, epitomizing centuries of meticulous cultivation and architectural brilliance. Next, the West Estate, encompassing 6,400 acres, offers a rugged beauty with high ground extending into the Peak District and Staffordshire. This particular area's wild charm and diverse wildlife make it a vital part of Chatsworth's natural landscape, providing breathtaking vistas and rich biodiversity. Now, the Shottle Estate's 3,500 acres are predominantly agricultural, with a focus on dairy farming, and its fertile lands produce high-quality dairy products, essential to the estate's agricultural output. Next, the Staveley Estate, covering 3,400 acres near Chesterfield, is a blend of industrial sites, woodlands, and arable farms. This mix reflects the dynamic nature of land use in the region. And Staveley Works, an industrial site within the estate, provides employment and income, while the surrounding woodlands and farms enhance its agricultural diversity and environmental stewardship. Lastly, Scarecliffe Estate, the largest sub-estate at 9,300 acres, lies east of Chesterfield and is predominantly arable farmland. Its vast fields are dedicated to crop production, managed with a focus on sustainability and efficiency. This approach ensures that Scarecliffe's agricultural output remains robust for future generations. Thus, Chatsworth Estate is a harmonious blend of historical preservation and modern agricultural innovation, and the Cavendish family's careful stewardship has kept it as a vibrant and thriving part of Derbyshire, attracting visitors from around the globe and contributing significantly to the local community. Number 2. Bolton Abbey. Perched in the lush cradle of North Yorkshire's Wharfdale, the Bolton Abbey estate offers a majestic sprawl of 33,000 acres, a scenic domain intimately linked to the Cavendish dynasty for over 2.5 centuries. But the tale of this grand estate begins in 1748, woven through the marital union of Baroness Clifford and William Cavendish, the 4th Duke of Devonshire. With each generation, the Cavendish lineage has adored and shaped Bolton Abbey, etching their unique influences upon its historical and environmental canvas. And currently, the 12th Duke, Peregrine Cavendish, and his wife Amanda often grace Bolton Abbey Hall, continuing the familial legacy. Bolton Abbey has played host to an illustrious roster of guests, from monarchs to the stars of screen and stage. King George V's repeat appearances underscored the estate's regal significance, and in more contemporary times, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip graced Bolton Abbey Hall during the 2005 Royal Ascot races held in nearby York. And the architectural and cultural facets of the estate mirror the Cavendish family's flair for integrating historical grandeur with homely elegance. Nestled amid the Yorkshire Dales, the estate is a breathtaking blend of rugged moorlands, tranquil woodlands, and fertile farmlands. It boasts 1,500 acres of woods and 52 farms, enhancing both its agricultural yield and ecological diversity, and the River Wharfe, meandering gracefully through this panorama, adds both beauty and sustenance to the land. A magnet for over 400,000 visitors each year, Bolton Abbey invites exploration with more than 80 miles of public trails, including the renowned Dales Way, and the estate's iconic stepping stones offer a whimsical and adventurous river crossing that captivates all who dare to tread their path. For those wishing to extend their stay, the estate provides an array of accommodations from cosy holiday cottages to grand barn conversions and farmhouses. Alongside, it features a diverse array of 146 properties encompassing both residential charm and commercial potential, with offerings that range from office spaces to quaint delicatessens. Now, the historical heartbeat of Bolton Abbey is its priory, established in 1154 by the Augustinians and standing resilient through centuries of change. Despite the dissolution in 1539, the priory ruins and the operational priory church of St. Mary and St. Cuthbert continue to enchant and serve the local populace. In the careful hands of the Cavendish family, Bolton Abbey remains not only a cherished heirloom, but also a lively and integral part of the Yorkshire Dales community, continuing to draw admirers from across the globe. Number 3. Lismore Castle. Steeped in over 270 years of Cavendish family heritage, Lismore Castle stands as a resplendent emblem of aristocratic grandeur in Ireland's verdant landscape. Now, this storied estate entered Cavendish hands in 1753, sealing a union between Lady Charlotte Boyle, heiress of the 3rd Earl of Burlington and 4th Earl of Cork, and William Cavendish, the man destined to become the 4th Duke of Devonshire. Since that pivotal acquisition, Lismore Castle has embraced a vibrant tapestry of Cavendish triumphs and tragedies, all while nurturing a profound family legacy. The 5th Duke, also named William Cavendish, left a tangible mark in 1775 with the construction of an elegant arched bridge that gracefully arches over the River Blackwater. Yet, it was the 6th Duke, affectionately dubbed the Bachelor Duke, who profoundly reimagined Lismore Castle. From 1811, this visionary duke orchestrated a grand transformation, enlisting the genius of architects like William Atkinson and Sir Joseph Paxton, later famed for designing the Crystal Palace, to reimagine the castle in a sumptuous Gothic style, using finely quarried Derbyshire stone. The Bachelor Duke's fervour for Lismore was boundless, fueling extensive restorations that elevated the estate to a quasi-feudal regal fortress. His collaboration with Paxton, who had ascended from an under-gardener to a lauded architect, infused the castle with its distinctive Gothic silhouette and architectural finesse. Then, the mid-19th century ushered in another era of splendour under the Duke's guidance. He tasked J.G. Crace of London and the eminent architect A.W.N. Pugin with transforming the dilapidated chapel of the old Bishop's Palace into a grand medieval-style banqueting hall. This hall, crowned with a chimney-piece heralded at the Great Exhibition of 1851, now welcomes visitors with Sead Mille Failte, 100,000 welcomes. After the Bachelor Duke's era ended in 1858, Lismore Castle continued to be a beloved sanctuary for the Cavendish family. In the 1930s and 1940s, it became the cherished residence of Lord Charles Cavendish and his wife, Adele Astaire, sister of the iconic Fred Astaire. Adele, a frequent visitor until 1981, often brought her celebrated brother along, enhancing the castle's allure. Lismore has also played host to a dazzling array of guests, including British royals, luminaries of the arts, and President John F. Kennedy, linked by family marriage to the Cavendishes through his sister Kathleen. Architecturally, the castle witnessed significant changes under the 6th Duke's initiative, as William Atkinson and later Sir Joseph Paxton reinvented its structure into the Gothic masterpiece seen today. This overhaul not only revamped the castle's external appearance, but also enriched its interiors with lavish plasterwork, sumptuous tapestries, and luxurious furnishings. Today, Lismore Castle remains more than just an architectural wonder. It is a vibrant home. Currently, it is a part-time Irish residence for the Duke of Devonshire, while his son, Lord Burlington, oversees its affairs. And in 2005, Lord Burlington spearheaded the transformation of the castle's West Range into a contemporary art gallery, Lismore Castle Arts, and opened much of the interior for group accommodations. Number 4. Compton Place. Compton Place, a regal estate in Eastbourne, East Sussex, remains deeply rooted in the storied annals of the Cavendish family, the Dukes of Devonshire. The estate was woven into the Cavendish tapestry in 1782 through the matrimonial alliance of Lady Elizabeth Compton and Lord George Cavendish, the second son of the 4th Duke of Devonshire. This union heralded the beginning of the Cavendish stewardship of Compton Place, which was further cemented in 1858, when the 7th Duke of Devonshire, William Cavendish, inherited it following his cousin's demise, the 2nd Earl of Burlington. Originally christened Bourne Place, this Jacobean manor, transformed in 1726 by Colin Campbell into a Palladian masterpiece, reflects the aesthetic evolution dictated by its various custodians. Commissioned by Spencer Compton, Britain's second Prime Minister, the estate's architectural lineage is highlighted by its symmetry, classical forms, and an imposing grandeur that dominates its landscape. And the Cavendish connection is marked by several influential family members who have called Compton Place home, from Lord George Cavendish, who introduced the estate into the family holdings, to the 7th Duke of Devonshire, who made it a pivotal management hub for their Sussex estates. But the 10th Duke's era was tinged with mystery and tragedy, marked by his sudden death in 1950, shadowed by the infamous Eastbourne doctor, John Bodkin Adams. And Compton Place has played host to an array of distinguished guests over the years, including royal figures like Queen Alexandra and King Edward VII in 1892, enhancing its historical allure. Furthermore, the estate's adaptive use over time includes periods as a ladies' finishing school and later a language school, which welcomed future luminaries such as Benazir Bhutto. Now, the architectural significance of Compton Place is encapsulated in its Palladian style, particularly evident in the south elevation. This aspect was designed by Campbell and later augmented in 1806 by George Cavendish, the 1st Earl of Burlington, with a stately Doric peristyle, and the interiors are a showcase of opulent plasterwork and stucco decorations, notably in the gallery where a unique stucco portrait bust of Colin Campbell, the estate's architect, resides. Of course, we can't overlook the Duke's bedroom, a lavish chamber adorned with stucco reliefs inspired by classical themes such as Titian's Venus and Adonis. This room, originally conceived by Spencer Compton for a royal visit from King George II that never transpired, later welcomed other royal figures, including George VI and his daughters in 1946. The library, too, stands out with its original leather wallpaper, albeit dimmed by anachronistic 1960s lighting. The surrounding grounds of Compton Place have also been subject to evolution, originally designed with statue-lined walks that have since been moved to Chatsworth House. Today, these grounds are partially occupied by the Royal Eastbourne Golf Club, founded in 1887 and historically linked to the Cavendish family. In its more recent history, Compton Place's adaptability was tested in the mid-20th century when it was leased as a school in response to financial pressures from heavy death duties. Though Compton Place remains under private ownership with restricted public access, it continues to serve as a beacon of architectural magnificence and historical richness. Its legacy, shaped by the Cavendish family's enduring influence and commitment to preservation, ensures that Compton Place remains a captivating subject for both historians and architecture enthusiasts, securing its place as a cherished jewel in the fabric of East Sussex's heritage. Number 5. Holker Estate. And last on our list of old money mansions of the Cavendish family, Holker Hall, a stately manor majestically sited on the northwest coast of England in Cumbria, boasts a deeply woven history with the family, having been a part of their heritage since 1756. Now, the hall first became associated with the family when Lord George Augustus Cavendish acquired it through marriage from a Lowther cousin, beginning a connection that has spanned over 268 years and counting. But the hall's origins stretch back to the early 16th century, initially under the ownership of Cartmel Priory. After the dissolution of the monasteries in 1536, the estate changed hands to George Preston, who began constructing the hall. The Preston family maintained ownership until 1697, when Catherine Preston's marriage brought the estate into the Lowther family fold, where it remained until it transitioned to the Cavendish lineage in 1756. Holker Hall's narrative is punctuated by various transformations and pivotal events, including a devastating fire in 1871 that consumed the entire West Wing. William Cavendish, the 7th Duke of Devonshire, saw this calamity as an opportunity to reconstruct the hall on a more magnificent scale. The architects Paley and Austin of Lancaster were commissioned to design the new wing, resulting in the majestic red sandstone Elizabethan Gothic structure admired today. Under the stewardship of the Cavendish family, Holker Hall has flourished. Lucy Cavendish, the estate's current custodian, assumed management in 2014 from her father, Lord Cavendish. Despite not being the eldest child, her profound affinity for Holker Hall and her artistic acumen made her an ideal successor. And she has passionately focused on sustainability and promoting local craftsmanship, continuing the family's legacy of diligent stewardship. Holker Hall has served as a residence to many notable Cavendishes, including the 7th Duke, who played a critical role in its 19th century reconstruction. And the hall's interiors are lavishly decorated with family portraits, featuring a self-portrait by Van Dyck, and its library houses books from Henry Cavendish's collection, emphasizing the family's enduring bond with the estate. These days, encompassing about 17,000 acres on the Cartmel Peninsula, Holker Hall is a hub of diverse business ventures spanning holiday parks, quarrying, residential property, and property development, alongside farming, forestry, horticulture, and hospitality venues and events. At the heart of this grand estate is Holker Hall itself, the principal residence of Lucy Cavendish and her husband, Tor McLaren. Following the 1871 fire, the hall was reborn in a neo-Elizabethan style, balancing historical grandeur with the needs of a modern family home and public attraction. Surrounded by award-winning gardens celebrated for their exotic plant species, the hall thrives due to the region's unique microclimate. But agriculture remains a vital component of the estate's operations, producing high-quality items such as cheese, honey, and the acclaimed Holker Saltmarsh lamb. These products reflect the estate's commitment to excellence in farming and artisanal craftsmanship. Tourism and hosting events also play a pivotal role at Holker Hall. Throughout the year, the estate buzzes with activity from the Holker Garden Festival, often dubbed the Chelsea of the North, to local producers' markets and the festive winter market. These events not only spotlight local produce and horticulture, but also strengthen community ties and enhance the visitor experience. In its entirety, Holker Estate stands as a dynamic and historically significant landmark, seamlessly integrating traditional farming with contemporary hospitality and tourism in the heart of Cumbria. In the circles of British royalty, the estates of Anne, Princess Royal, hold a distinguished place, encapsulating the seamless blend of historical prestige with modern elegance. Originating from a lineage steeped in the history of the British monarchy, her properties reflect a continuity of royal traditions amidst the rapid changes of today's world. The Princess Royal has skillfully adapted to contemporary demands while preserving the essence and values dating back to medieval Britain. In this episode, we will explore the exquisite residences of Princess Anne, highlighting how each estate manifests her rich heritage as we take you on a tour of the old money mansions of Anne, Princess Royal. Number 1. Gatcombe Park, Gloucestershire. First on our list of the old money mansions of Anne Princess Royal is Gatcombe Park, positioned elegantly in Gloucestershire. And this historic estate, a Grade II listed architectural gem, became a part of royal family law when Queen Elizabeth II acquired it in 1976 as a rather generous wedding gift for Princess Anne and her then beau, Captain Mark Phillips. Crafted with precision between 1771 and 1774 by Edward Shepherd, a notable clothier of his time, Gatcombe Park later passed into the hands of David Ricardo, a celebrated economist, and in the early 19th century, Ricardo, with architect George Bassevi at his side, ushered in a wave of significant upgrades, including its distinguished Bathstone facade. Today, the estate sprawls over 730 acres, boasting stables and grounds that whisper of its equestrian prowess. Indeed, Princess Anne, a royal with a renowned penchant for equestrian sports, has woven the essence of British equine competition into the very fabric of Gatcombe Park, and the estate annually hosts the Festival of British Eventing, transforming its vast landscape into a stage for dressage, show jumping, and cross-country events that draw both elite competitors and throngs of spectators every August. The main residence is an exquisite showcase of historical architecture melded seamlessly with touches of royal domesticity. It houses 5 main bedrooms, 4 secondary ones, and multiple reception rooms, including a library and a billiard room, crowned with a conservatory. Surrounding the manor, a bustling farm operates, teeming with livestock that underscore the estate's commitment to self-reliance. Now, an interior peek, courtesy of a video call during the early days of the coronavirus pandemic, reveals a setting marked by comfort rather than splendor, mirroring Princess Anne's preference for practicality over grandeur. Her home radiates warmth and livability, starkly contrasting the opulent expectation often associated with royal dwellings. Following her divorce from Captain Mark Phillips in 1992, Anne's ex-husband resettled at nearby Aston Farm, while Anne continued her stewardship of Gatcombe with her second husband, Sir Timothy Lawrence. The pair's dedication to both their royal responsibilities and the agrarian lifestyle is palpable, with Anne often emphasising the estate's financial independence. Furthermore, the park is not merely a royal residence, but a vibrant familial epicentre. Anne's children, Peter Phillips and Zara Tyndall, along with their respective families, inhabit cottages within the grounds, reinforcing the property's role as a familial nucleus. Zara, echoing her mother's equestrian zeal, resides here with her husband, Mike Tyndall, and their children, perpetuating the estate's storied equestrian tradition. And beyond its royal inhabitants and equine fame, Gatcombe Park is draped in natural splendour. Its parklands, replete with lush woodlands, a serene lake, and myriad trails, play host to the estate's numerous public festivities, though the main house retains its privacy, opening its gates only during select equestrian events. Here, beauty and heritage coalesce, crafting a living legacy of the British royal family's enduring bond with the countryside and the spirited world of equestrian sports. Number 2. St James's Palace, London. Next on our list is St James's Palace, perched in the pulsing heart of London, which elegantly assumes its role as the official city dwelling of Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. Erected between 1531 and 1536 under the auspices of King Henry VIII, this architectural jewel ranks among the oldest royal residences in the UK, serving a dual purpose, hosting grand official affairs and state visits, and as a private London base for various royals, including Princess Anne herself. Thus, despite her primary abode being Gatcombe Park in Gloucestershire, St James's provides a pivotal locale for her myriad commitments in the metropolis. Born just a stone's throw away at Clarence House in 1950, Anne's lifelong proximity to St James's has woven her narrative intimately with its storied walls. And architecturally, St James's is a Tudor treasure. Its signature red brick facade reveals a collection of features that whisper tales of yesteryears: the Chapel Royal, the sturdy gatehouse, and the Tudor remnants within the state apartments that have witnessed centuries slide by. Through various eras, the palace has embraced sensitive renovations, ensuring the fusion of antiquity with the necessities of contemporary use. For example, the Chapel Royal, dating back to the Tudor period, was tenderly restored mid-20th century, reviving its original splendor. Within its walls, the palace interiors narrate a rich history dressed in diverse styles. The Chapel Royal presents a barrel-vaulted ceiling, segmented into square coffers, echoing Palladio's Roman temple visions. At the chapel's west end, the royal closet stands elevated, its entrance flanked by Corinthian pilasters under a cascade of festoons, marrying Tudor roots with later stylistic infusions. Not to be outdone, the state apartments exude grandeur, accommodating around 100 royal receptions annually. These gatherings are often in support of charities close to the royal heart. The throne room, with its regal decor re-envisioned in 1824, epitomizes the ceremonial essence of the palace. More than a mere architectural marvel, St. James's Palace has been a cornerstone of royal life. It was here Queen Victoria chose to wed Prince Albert in 1840, and where countless significant state pronouncements have echoed, including the proclamation of new monarchs. Upon a monarch's passing, it is here that the Accession Council convenes, with the declaration of the new sovereign heralded from the proclamation gallery above Friary Court. Currently, St. James's buzzes as a linchpin of royal operations, accommodating the Royal Collection Trust, the Marshal of the Diplomatic Corps, and other pivotal offices. This blend of residential charm and administrative duties underscores its unrelenting relevance in the royal and ceremonial landscape of Britain, proving it's far more than just a backdrop, but a living, breathing entity in the ongoing saga of the British monarchy. Number 3. Clarence House, London. In the heart of London, Clarence House whispers tales of royal lives past and present, unfolding a vivid tableau of architectural grandeur and domestic intimacy. Erected between 1825 and 1827, this residence sprang from the creative genius of John Nash, a luminary in his field called upon by the future King William IV to design a domicile worthy of royalty. His vision birthed a structure that not only provided relief from the spatial constraints of St. James's Palace, but also stood on its own merits as a stately home adjacent to that historic site. The echoes of royal birth cries resonate within its walls, particularly from the 15th of August 1950, when Princess Anne, the Princess Royal, made her debut into the world. At this juncture, her parents, Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, called Clarence House home. These were the years before Elizabeth's ascent to the throne in 1952, a fleeting era when the house served as a familial haven. With the Queen's shift to Buckingham Palace, the home welcomed Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, and Princess Margaret. Over the decades, Clarence House mirrored the personal tastes of its regal inhabitants, evolving into a sanctuary that blended monumental history with private elegance. When Princess Margaret exchanged these stately rooms for Kensington Palace in 1960, the Queen Mother stayed behind, imprinting her essence on the residence until her passing in 2002. Clarence House's architectural allure is undeniable, with its pale stucco exterior unfurling into interiors rich in both heritage and personalized touches. Under the influence of the young Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, the post-war era saw a refresh of the decor, balancing austerity with splendor. The dining room, for instance, boasted a Georgian table and chairs, cherished gifts that echoed the narrative of noble generosity. As the sands of time shifted, so too did the aesthetic of Clarence House. The Queen Mother, post-1952, infused the space with her own stylish flair. The morning room was adorned with a Georgian marble chimneypiece and a ceiling showcasing her royal insignia, while gilding brought a new luminosity to the drawing rooms and dining room, transforming the ambience from sombre to sublime. And tea passing of the Queen Mother marked another epoch of renewal. Clarence House rejuvenated itself once more to accommodate Prince Charles, the then Prince of Wales, now King Charles III, and his consort, Queen Camilla. The refurbishment preserved the regal elegance of yesteryear while weaving in contemporary comforts, including artworks from Charles's collection and pieces from the royal collection. Today, Clarence House serves as both a private residence and a public spectacle, with its opulent rooms open for tours that reveal a rich mosaic of royal life. The residence not only continues to support the day-to-day engagements of King Charles III and Queen Camilla, but also serves as a bridge between the regal heritage and the modern-day monarchy, ensuring its relevance and resonance well into the future. Number 4. Sandringham House, Norfolk. In the heart of Norfolk, England, the stately Sandringham House unfolds its chapters of royal history with a twist of sublime design and a dash of family intrigue. Gifted by Queen Victoria in 1862 to her son, the future King Edward VII, this resplendent estate has evolved from a cosy Georgian mansion into a voluminous retreat resplendent in Jacobean flair. Architect A.J. Humbert, seizing the vision of a young and vivacious Prince of Wales, spearheaded the initial transformation in 1871, expanding the estate into a haven fit for royal festivities. And the inclusion of a ballroom and even a bespoke bowling alley, inspired by one Edward admired in Staffordshire, echoed the prince's penchant for grandeur and entertainment. Disaster struck in 1891 when a fierce fire ravaged parts of Sandringham, setting the stage for a spirited phase of architectural resurrection. Fireproofing joined the list of essentials as the house rose from its ashes, with further enhancements shepherded by Collar W. Edis in the 1880s, adding robust yet elegant spaces, including a sprawling single-story ballroom. The blend of Georgian foundations, Jacobean expansions, and Victorian nuances creates a visual symphony, accentuated by the rich interiors that owe much to Queen Alexandra. Post-King Edward VII's era, her keen eye for detail nurtured the estate's inner sanctum, adorning it with sumptuous fireplaces, intricate woodworks, and a treasure trove of artifacts, ranging from Queen Mary's Oriental jade to resplendent Fabergé pieces. The external grandeur of Sandringham is no less considered, with its meticulously crafted gardens offering both formality and whimsical retreats, like the quaint summer house christened the Queen's Nest. The evolution of these gardens saw the hands of Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe in the late 1930s, who infused the northern expanse with a modern breath of landscaping artistry. Within its walls, Sandringham has not just been a backdrop for royal leisure, but a vibrant home pulsing with life during holidays and family gatherings. Therefore, Princess Anne, among others, has woven many of her memories here, amidst the intimate yet regal confines of this estate. The house is legendary for hosting spirited Christmas celebrations where royals exchange gag gifts, a cheeky nod from Queen Elizabeth II to sidestep the quandary of the perfect present. A beacon of royal duty, Sandringham doubles as a working estate, embracing organic farming and sustainable practices with over 200 dedicated staff members. Its commitment to conservation is palpable, with vast stretches of newly planted forests and an unwavering dedication to recycling. Since 1977, when Queen Elizabeth II opened this majestic estate to the public to commemorate her Silver Jubilee, Sandringham has invited the world to wander through its splendid corridors, delve into its rich decor, and stroll its elaborate gardens. For the casual visitor or the ardent historian, Sandringham offers a peek into the private lives of the British royals, remaining a cherished emblem of heritage and a repository of countless personal anecdotes and royal traditions. Princess Diana, affectionately known as the People's Princess, captivated the world with her grace, compassion, and relentless advocacy for the underprivileged. Indeed, her warmth radiated beyond the stiff formalities of royalty, touching the hearts of millions across the globe. And her legacy is one of profound impact and enduring fascination, transcending the boundaries of nations and generations. Yet, while much of her life played out under the relentless scrutiny of the public eye, it is within the walls of her residences that the essence of Diana truly comes to life. Thus, the homes you are about to see, steeped in tradition and elegance, served not just as homes, but as sanctuaries where she could express her true self, away from the cameras and expectations. In today's episode, we'll take you inside these magnificent estates, each room whispering stories of a woman who was both a global icon and, more intimately, a guardian of her own unique world. Number 1. Althorp, Northamptonshire, England. First on our list is Althorp House, the cherished childhood residence of Princess Diana, which stands as a monumental estate set within the picturesque landscape of Northamptonshire, England. And, spanning an impressive 13,000 acres, This grand estate has served as the ancestral home of the Spencer family for over 5 centuries. As a Grade 1 listed building, Althorp House is celebrated not only for its architectural splendour, but also for its deep-rooted historical and cultural significance. Now, Diana Frances Spencer, who would later become the Princess of Wales, spent formative years at Althorp House. After her birth in 1961 at Park House on the Sandringham estate, Diana transitioned to Althorp in 1975, following her father, John Spencer's, succession to the title of Earl Spencer. This move marked a shift from her initial childhood environment to the vast and opulent surroundings of Althorp, a residence featuring 90 rooms, including 31 bedrooms, each contributing to the estate's aristocratic charm and historical grandeur that profoundly influenced Diana's early years. And architecturally, Althorp House showcases a rich evolution of styles from its origins. Constructed in 1688, the current house replaced an earlier Tudor structure, signalling the onset of a new architectural era. Subsequently, the estate has experienced numerous modifications and expansions over the centuries, each reflecting contemporary tastes and influences. Among the most notable additions is the Palladian-style stable block, designed by the acclaimed architect Roger Morris in the 1730s. This architectural gem highlights the classical elegance and symmetry emblematic of Palladian design, inspired by the Venetian architect Andrea Palladio. The stable block not only served practical purposes, but also enhanced the estate's aesthetic appeal, complementing the grandeur of the main house. Inside Althorp House, visitors are greeted by interiors that rival its exterior magnificence, and the residence is home to a significant collection of European art and historical furnishings amassed over generations. Key rooms, including the saloon and the Great Room, display works by celebrated artists such as Anthony van Dyck, whose portraits eloquently capture the era's elegance and nobility. This collection not only represents the Spencer family's wealth, but also underscores their long-standing patronage of the arts and cultural heritage. The estate's expansive grounds are equally captivating. Encompassing over 13,000 acres, Althorp's meticulously landscaped gardens offer a serene retreat into nature. With vibrant flower beds and pristine lawns, the gardens reflect the estate's dedication to preserving natural beauty. Additionally, the deer park, home to black fallow and red stag deer, enriches the estate's pastoral charm and provides a glimpse into its diverse wildlife. Among the estate's most poignant features is the round oval lake, a tranquil water body with profound significance. And at the heart of this serene lake lies a small island, which serves as the final resting place for Princess Diana. Surrounded by verdant foliage, the island is accessible only by boat, ensuring a private and peaceful sanctuary. This secluded location was chosen for Diana's burial to offer a dignified and reflective space, harmonizing with the estate's natural beauty. Princess Diana's connection to Althorp was enduring, making the estate a constant presence throughout her life. After her passing in 1997, Althorp became a site of homage for her admirers globally. For 15 years, the estate hosted an exhibition showcasing Diana's life, featuring 150 artifacts, including her iconic wedding dress. This collection was later transferred to her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Today, the estate is overseen by Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer, who continues to uphold its legacy. Number 2. Park House. Princess Diana's birthplace, Park House, is a captivating Victorian residence nestled within the expansive Sandringham estate in Norfolk, England. Constructed in 1863 for Sir William Knollys by the future King Edward VII, this residence was leased to the Spencer family by Queen Elizabeth II, who was affectionately known as Aunt Lilibet to Diana. The architectural charm of Park House, characterized by its exposed brown brickwork and white sash windows, served as an appropriate setting for Diana's early years, blending classic English design with the sophisticated grace that would later become her hallmark. The exterior of Park House is a striking example of traditional English country architecture, and the red brick facade, embellished with limestone detailing, imparts a welcoming warmth typical of the region's aesthetic. The building's profile is further enhanced by gables and bay windows, elements that contribute to its picturesque and somewhat irregular outline. These features not only enhance visual appeal, but also ensure that natural light floods the interior spaces. The roof is crowned with clusters of chimney stacks, adding to the historical allure of this charming residence. Inside, Park House offers a blend of elegance and practicality. The interior design reflects the late 19th century and Edwardian periods, characterized by a light and comfortable atmosphere. The rooms, though not expansive, exude a sense of intimacy and homeliness. The design emphasizes comfort and understated luxury, with a focus on creating inviting spaces. In the 1980s, Park House underwent a significant restoration aimed at preserving its historical character while accommodating modern needs. The work, carried out by Ratti and Kett, balanced the integration of contemporary amenities with the retention of the residence's original elegance. The restoration included reconfiguring the interior to ensure accessibility for guests with disabilities, all while maintaining the aesthetic qualities that define Park House. The interior spaces of Park House include a variety of rooms, from living and dining areas to private quarters. The decor and furnishings adhere to the late Victorian style, featuring traditional wood paneling, ornate fireplaces, and period-appropriate furniture. These elements collectively foster a sense of warmth and historical continuity throughout the residence. Diana Frances Spencer, born on the 1st of July 1961, was the fourth of 5 children born to John Spencer, Viscount Althorp, and Frances Spencer, Viscountess Althorp. And her birth here at Park House was particularly significant, as it was also the birthplace of her mother. Diana's childhood at Park House was marked by close proximity to the royal family, with her early playmates being Prince Andrew and Prince Edward, who resided just a mile away at Sandringham House. The environment at Park House was idyllic for a child. Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, fondly recalls the expansive garden, swimming pool and tennis court, describing the setting as an ideal backdrop for a childhood. Despite the elegance surrounding her, Diana's early years were not without their difficulties. The strained marriage of her parents, exacerbated by the societal pressures of producing a male heir, led to their eventual separation and divorce. Diana lived at Park House until 1975, when her father inherited the title of Earl Spencer, prompting the family's move to Althorp House, the Spencer family seat in Northamptonshire. This relocation marked the end of her time at Sandringham, though the memories of Park House remained a cherished part of her early life. In later years, Park House was transformed into a hotel designed to accommodate disabled guests, following its donation to the Leonard Cheshire Disability Charity by Queen Elizabeth in 1983. The conversion of Park House into a hotel was part of a larger initiative to preserve the property while making it accessible to a broader audience. Although a planned renovation in 2019 aimed at enhancing the facility was halted due to financial challenges exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic, Park House continues to stand as a symbol of Diana's formative years. The residence, with its lilac floral walls and wooden floors, represents both privilege and simplicity, a duality that would later become a defining aspect of Diana's public persona, seamlessly blending glamour with relatability. Number 3. Highgrove House. Highgrove House, gracefully set in the charming Cotswolds of Gloucestershire, England, is a residence with a rich tapestry of historical and personal significance. And this Georgian neoclassical estate, acquired by Prince Charles in 1980, became an emblematic backdrop for both public engagements and private moments throughout Princess Diana's marriage to the prince. Constructed between 1796 and 1798 by the architect Anthony Keck, Highgrove House exemplifies Georgian neoclassical architecture. The 3-story rectangular edifice, built from ashlar blocks and topped with a stone and slate roof, showcases intricate neoclassical detailing, including pilasters, a cornice, and a parapet. An elegant central canted bay and a porch, added in 1894, enrich the garden facade, enhancing its stately presence. Now the interior of Highgrove House seamlessly merges historical grandeur with modern sensibilities, and the main entrance hall, defined by its grand staircase, introduces visitors to a space adorned with soft pastel walls and an array of portraits. The drawing room, with its generous windows framing views of the lush gardens, is a gallery of artwork and antiques, including a grand piano. The library, stocked with books and equipped with a computer station, opens onto a sunlit courtyard, providing a serene spot for relaxation. The estate features 9 bedrooms, each distinctively styled with either 4-poster or sleigh beds, alongside 6 bathrooms. Robert Kime's interior design brings together an eclectic mix of antiques, textiles, and ornate decorations to cultivate a setting of regal comfort. Natural fabrics and energy-efficient lighting reflect a dedication to sustainability that runs throughout the home. Princess Diana's relationship with Highgrove House was nuanced. While the estate provided a tranquil retreat in the countryside, it also symbolized a sense of seclusion within her marriage. The house, with its ample space, including 9 bedrooms and 4 reception rooms, was where Diana and Charles spent significant time, particularly during the early years of their marriage. It was here that they raised their sons, Princes William and Harry, who delighted in the expansive grounds and gardens during their formative years. Highgrove's gardens, a personal project of Prince Charles, are a reflection of his passion for organic farming and environmental stewardship. Charles transformed the previously neglected grounds into a series of distinctive gardens, each with its own character. The wildflower meadow, the kitchen garden, and the stumpery are a few examples of the diverse horticultural landscapes curated with the help of renowned garden designer Rosemary Very. Yet, despite the allure of these gardens, Diana remained emotionally distanced from the estate, feeling overshadowed by the presence of future Queen Consort Camilla Parker Bowles nearby. Despite her feelings towards Highgrove, Diana maintained a presence in the local communities of Tetbury and Cirencester, where she engaged with residents and was warmly received. Her visits to these towns endeared her to the locals, who appreciated her genuine warmth and generosity. The early 1990s marked a turning point as Diana departed from Highgrove following the dissolution of her marriage. Her departure closed a chapter of personal complexity associated with the residents, leaving behind a home of remarkable beauty but also of significant personal strife. Today, Highgrove House remains a vital component of the royal estate, managed by the Duchy of Cornwall, and it continues to embody Prince Charles's vision of sustainable living and is not only a private residence but also a venue for charitable events. Number 4. Kensington Palace. Kensington Palace, situated within the verdant embrace of Kensington Gardens in London, took on renewed significance with Princess Diana's arrival following her marriage to Prince Charles. This iconic residence, steeped in history since the 17th century, evolved into a personal sanctuary for Diana, embodying her distinctive aesthetic and personal touches. Post their 1981 wedding, Diana and Charles established their home in apartments 8 and 9, which had been thoughtfully combined to create a spacious and sophisticated living area. This transformation marked a new chapter in the palace's storied past. Originally a modest Jacobean mansion named Nottingham House, Kensington Palace underwent a grand metamorphosis under King William III and Queen Mary II during the late 17th century. Sir Christopher Wren, the eminent architect, played a pivotal role in this transformation, integrating Baroque influences into the original Jacobean structure. His design included the addition of 3-story pavilions at each corner of the mansion, enhancing the palace's capacity to accommodate the royal family and their entourage. The reorientation of the palace to face west, coupled with the construction of north and south wings, created a formal courtyard that became a central feature of the palace's layout. The palace's exterior is distinguished by its refined brick facade and classic lines, which stand in contrast to the more elaborate facades of other royal residences like Buckingham Palace. Wren's architectural vision introduced a sense of grandeur while maintaining an understated elegance. The palace's gardens are another notable aspect of its design. Originally designed in the Dutch style with straight lawns and formal flower beds, they were further enriched by Queen Anne in 1704 with the addition of the orangery. Over the centuries, these gardens have been meticulously maintained, preserving their serene and picturesque character. Inside Kensington Palace, the grandeur continues with its opulent staterooms and meticulously crafted furnishings. Among the most remarkable features is the King's Staircase, decorated by William Kent during George I's reign. This staircase, adorned with vivid paintings, vividly depicts the King's court and includes a self-portrait of Kent himself. The staterooms are a showcase of Georgian opulence, with their richly decorated ceilings and walls reflecting the period's splendor. The Queen's apartments, expanded by Queen Mary, include the Queen's Gallery, which was added to enhance the living quarters. The palace also houses the Kensington Palace Chapel, constructed in the 1830s. This chapel, often referred to as the heart of the palace, is adorned with antique elements and Renaissance art from the royal collection. It has served as a venue for private family services and significant events, including weddings and christenings. Princess Diana's influence on Kensington Palace was transformative. Enlisting the expertise of interior designer Dudley Poplack, Diana infused the apartments with a blend of modern and classic country house aesthetics. The interiors featured soft hues and delicate prints, creating a space that was both elegant and welcoming. Her personal touch extended to the choice of pastel colors and floral wallpapers, which imbued the historic residence with warmth and comfort. Her sitting room, adorned with dusty pink upholstery, became a cozy yet functional space for both social gatherings and personal reflection. The top floor of the apartment was devoted to a nursery suite for her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Designed by the luxury children's firm Dragons of Walton Street, the nursery was a serene retreat filled with neutral tones and playful accents, providing a nurturing environment away from the public eye. Diana's thoughtful design aimed to create a supportive and comforting space for her children despite the challenges of royal life. Kensington Palace evolved into more than just Diana's residence. It became a refuge where she could showcase her individuality and seek solace from the relentless scrutiny of the media. Her affection for the palace was evident in her decision to remain there after her separation from Charles in 1992 and their subsequent divorce in 1996. The palace's gardens, particularly the sunken garden, held a special significance for her. In 2017, the garden was transformed into the White Garden, filled with white flowers and foliage as a tribute to her memory. Even after her untimely death in 1997, Diana's legacy continues to resonate at Kensington Palace, and a statue in her honor was unveiled in the sunken garden on what would have been her 60th birthday, standing as a lasting tribute to her profound impact on the world. In the echelons of British aristocracy, few names resonate with the weight and heritage of the Grosvenor family, the Dukes of Westminster. Tracing their lineage back to the Norman conquest, this storied lineage exemplifies the enduring legacy of old money in a modern age that often seems to have left such antiquities behind. And the Grosvenors have not only survived, but thrived, skillfully navigating the complexities of the 21st century while maintaining a connection to traditions and values that hark back to medieval England. In today's episode, we will embark on a journey through the Grosvenors' magnificent mansions and estates, exploring the lavish embodiments of their storied heritage as we take you through the old money mansions of the Grosvenor family. First on our list is Eaton Hall, the prestigious country residence of the Duke of Westminster. Standing as a significant marker of architectural progress through the ages, This estate is situated close to Eccleston in Cheshire, England, and has been the cornerstone of the Grosvenor family heritage since the 15th century. Now, the initial substantial dwelling was erected in the 17th century, but it was during the 19th century that Eaton Hall witnessed transformative architectural advancements. First, the early 19th century saw the demolition of the original residence, making way for a more imposing structure conceived by William Porden. And Porden's architectural venture was a pivotal example of pointed architecture, harmonizing elements of early and late Gothic styles. This particular rendition of Eaton Hall was distinguished by its intricate geometrical patterns, fan tracery, and stained glass windows, emblematic of the Gothic revival movement prevalent at the time. Nonetheless, even the Porden-designed Eaton Hall was short-lived, giving way to a much grander mansion envisioned by Alfred Waterhouse. And Waterhouse, celebrated for his contributions to the Natural History Museum in London and Manchester Town Hall, was enlisted by Hugh Grosvenor, the third Marquess of Westminster, later the first Duke of Westminster. Initiated in 1870 and culminating roughly 12 years later, Waterhouse's creation epitomized Victorian Gothic revival architecture, incorporating a chapel, auxiliary buildings, and lavish interiors adorned with ebony, alabaster, porphyry, and green serpentine. Next, the 1960s marked a period of decline for Waterhouse's Eaton Hall, leading to a decision that the hall was incongruent with its environment. The Percy Thomas partnership was tasked with altering its exterior to mirror a French chateau from 1989 to 1991. This redesign, however, received mixed reviews, with some critics likening its appearance to a commercial rather than a noble estate. Despite these alterations, portions of Waterhouse's contributions, notably the Eaton Chapel, a Grade 1 listed edifice, remain key to the estate. Completed in 1884, the chapel showcases Waterhouse's Gothic revival style, featuring buff sandstone, a grey slate roof, and a sumptuous interior with alabaster and mosaics, alongside stained glass by Frederick Shields and a carillon of 28 bells. And the estate's architectural story mirrors broader tendencies in the field of architectural history. For example, the gardens of Eaton Hall, sprawling across 88 acres, are the culmination of extensive design and maintenance efforts by leading designers, including recent inputs by Lady Arabella Lennox Boyd. The evolution from formal 17th century gardens to the 18th century preference for informal layouts was significantly influenced by figures such as Lancelot, Capability Brown, and William Eames. Presently, these gardens feature a variety of flora and fauna, including 4 formal rose gardens and expansive herbaceous borders, alongside recent additions like the hot border design and the Dragon Garden's vibrant bedding scheme. And the estate's design and layout extend beyond mere aesthetic allure, fostering a balance between Cheshire's natural beauty and human creativity. For instance, the inclusion of a walled kitchen garden, a wildflower garden, and a lake walk signifies the Grosvenor family's reverence for both cultivated and natural environments. And the tea house, nestled at the end of a scenic lake walk, offers a peaceful haven, emphasizing the estate's dedication to crafting inviting and serene spaces. The tradition of hosting grand house parties during the Victorian era, where guests were entertained on an extravagant scale, highlights the Grosvenor family's significant wealth and social standing. And the selection of materials for the interiors, such as alabaster, porphyry, and green serpentine for the fireplace, a wedding gift from the Countess's brother, underscores the family's capacity to commission and appreciate exceptional craftsmanship. These days, Eaton Hall remains a private home, closed to the public, yet its architectural lineage, from a 17th century estate to a 19th century Gothic revival jewel, concluding with a contemporary interpretation of a French chateau, reflects the dynamic shifts and influences in British architecture over the eras. Hugh Grosvenor, the current Duke of Westminster, and his fiancée Olivia Henson have selected this historic estate as their future family home, continuing its long-standing tradition as the Grosvenor family seat since the 15th century. However, Eton Hall still functions as a venue for charitable events at times. These events, usually held 3 times annually during the summer, play a crucial role in fundraising for local charities. Recently, in 2022, these charity open days generated over £50,000, showcasing the estate's community contributions. And the stable court at Eton Hall is repurposed for exhibitions and events, housing a collection of Grosvenor family artefacts in the exhibition room and documenting the hall's history in the history room. The stables display equestrian-related artefacts, and the long room, akin to a country home drawing room, accommodates up to 150 people for events. And the Wolf Room, equipped with a movable stage and audio-visual amenities, offers another venue for gatherings. However, when the Grosvenor family want to get away from their main estate, there is a lovely countryside abode they can always go to, which we'll feature next. The Grosvenor family's abbeystead, nestled within Lancashire's lush countryside and situated in the Forest of Bowland, an area celebrated for its outstanding natural beauty, provides a tranquil haven from the rapid pace of contemporary life. And it's a cherished retreat for the Grosvenor family, highlighting the seamless blend of history and natural splendour that characterises this region. Now, the hamlet's name, signifying the site of the abbey, brings to mind the fleeting tenure of Cistercian monks from Furness Abbey in the late 12th century. The monks chose this area for its strategic benefits, rich in natural resources, secluded enough to ensure a peaceful monastic life, yet fertile and water-rich for agriculture and self-sustenance. This combination of natural beauty and practical resources made Abbeystead an ideal spot for the monks' settlement and spiritual practices. And the monks' legacy in Abbeystead, particularly in agriculture and land management, is profound and enduring. Their innovative approaches to farming, such as the introduction of water management systems, terracing for increased arable land, and crop rotation to improve soil fertility, revolutionized local agriculture. These methods not only enhanced the productivity of the land, but also laid the foundations for sustainable agricultural practices that resonated throughout the region for generations, significantly shaping the character of Abbeystead and its surroundings. Furthermore, the Forest of Bowland, which enfolds Abbeystead, speaks to the area's remarkable natural beauty. Recognized as an area of outstanding natural beauty, this designation reflects the exceptional landscapes and serene ambience that define the region. The forest's heather-covered moorlands, deep valleys, and rich biodiversity make it a quintessential example of England's natural heritage. And it's this captivating scenery and tranquil atmosphere that underscore Abbeystead's allure, painting a picture of a place where the historical impact of its human inhabitants has harmonized with the natural environment to create a landscape that is both beautiful and bountiful. Home to significant populations of endangered bird species such as the curlew, lapwing and red shank, the estate's effective management of over 8,000 hectares of moorland supports these birds, alongside a successful peatland restoration program that has significantly reduced CO2 emissions, underlining the estate's dedication to conservation and environmental stewardship. Now, Abbeystead House itself, erected in 1886 as a shooting lodge for the 4th Earl of Sefton, also stands as a significant architectural and historical landmark in the area. Its construction, characterized by sandstone rubble with slate roofs and distinctive windows, reflects the era's architectural elegance. And the house's interiors, featuring dual fireplaces with panelled overmantels and an Elizabethan charm, represent meticulous attention to detail and historical value that define this Grade II listed building. Notably, the house served as the scene of a record-setting grouse shoot in 1915, cementing its status as a premier location for such activities, and witnessed the unfortunate passing of the 6th Duke of Westminster in 2016, adding a poignant chapter to its history. Now serving as the current personal residence of Hugh Richard Lewis Grosvenor, the 7th Duke of Westminster, until he and his bride move into Eton Hall, Abbeystead House continues to embody the Grosvenor family's enduring connection to this tranquil rural escape. However, there was another home that put the Dukes of Westminster right in the centre of the London action for decades, which we'll explore in the next chapter. Grosvenor House, a beacon of London's architectural and societal evolution, played a pivotal role in reflecting the city's dynamic history, especially during the 19th and early 20th centuries. This grand structure not only mirrored the Grosvenor family's rise to prominence, but also served as a microcosm of the wealth, status, and influence that permeated London's upper echelons during that period. And the history of Grosvenor House is deeply entangled with Mayfair's transformation from mere pastures to a coveted district, thanks to the Grosvenor family's ambitious urban planning initiatives in the 1720s. Their strategic development of Mayfair, particularly with Grosvenor Square as its nucleus, signalled the dawn of a new era, and the relocation of the Grosvenor family to Park Lane and the subsequent construction of Grosvenor House exemplified their wealth and societal standing, marking a new chapter in their legacy. Specifically, Grosvenor House's architectural evolution, marked by significant expansions and the introduction of modern amenities like electricity in the late 19th century, symbolized the family's ambition to create a residence that was more than a home. It was a symbol of aristocratic prestige, a cultural beacon that attracted the social elite, especially during the so-called season. However, the onset of the First World War heralded a pivotal transformation in the function of Grosvenor House, transitioning from a hub of aristocratic leisure to a bastion of national service. Mirroring the evolving social landscape of the time, the war's outbreak necessitated its repurposing by the government, leading to the Duke of Westminster's decision by 1920 not to reclaim his ancestral home, and the subsequent sale of the property to A.O. Edwards, a visionary in commercial development, signalled the dawn of a new era for the site. Sadly, Edwards' plans culminated in the demolition of the original building in the autumn of 1927. This demolition heralded the construction of the Grosvenor House Hotel, a metamorphosis from a historic mansion to a contemporary hospitality icon. Under Edwards's stewardship, the project seamlessly blended modern luxury with Britain's traditional elegance, creating a destination for an international clientele while retaining an unmistakable British charm. Ownership of the Grosvenor House Hotel eventually passed to Katara Holdings under the Qatar Investment Authority, following its acquisition from Ashkenazi Acquisition Corporation, an American private property investment entity. Marriott International now operates the hotel, ensuring the legacy of Grosvenor House continues under esteemed stewardship. Today, the JW Marriott Grosvenor House London boasts a suite of amenities designed to meet the discerning tastes of its guests, including sumptuously appointed rooms with plush bedding, elegant marble bathrooms, and state-of-the-art connectivity options. Victorian England's wealthiest families built palaces they believed would stand forever. Thus, in 1870, the Grosvenors, Britain's richest aristocrats, commissioned the most ambitious private residence of their age. Indeed, Waterhouse Hall would require 12 years, hundreds of craftsmen, and over £800,000 to complete, a sum that would easily exceed 100 million today. Its Gothic towers soared above Cheshire's ancient oaks, and its 150 rooms showcased every refinement Victorian craftsmanship could achieve. Foreign princes and future kings walked its marble halls, and even 2 world wars saw it shelter wounded soldiers beneath its vaulted ceilings. Certainly, it was more than a house. It was a monument to an age when British power seemed eternal. Yet in 1961, the Grosvenor family made an announcement that shocked the nation. They would demolish their own masterpiece. In a matter of weeks, one of Britain's greatest architectural achievements would vanish forever. But why would one of England's most powerful families destroy their own legacy? In today's episode, we'll answer just that and more as we describe why the Grosvenor family demolished their own country house. The Grosvenor family's legacy in British aristocracy began in the 11th century when they were a part of the Norman conquest of 1066, with the Grosvenors having maintained their presence in Cheshire since then, though it was their acquisition of Eton that would set the stage for their rise to prominence. You see, the Grosvenors' connection to Eton began in the 15th century through marriage, establishing a presence that would span generations. This was because their influence expanded dramatically in 1677, when Sir Thomas Grosvenor married Mary Davies, whose inheritance included the manor of Ebury, the land that would develop into London's Mayfair and Belgravia districts. The strategic development of these holdings over generations established the Grosvenors as one of Britain's wealthiest landholding families. Throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, the Grosvenors maintained their seat at Eton while expanding their influence in both local and national affairs. Their status was reflected in various honours: baronets since 1622, barons from 1761, earls from 1784, marquesses from 1831, and finally dukes when the Westminster dukedom was created in 1874. This progression through the ranks of the peerage mirrored their increasing wealth and influence. And the significance of Eton as the family seat extended beyond its role as a country estate. It served as the physical embodiment of the Grosvenors' position in British society, a statement of their wealth and taste, and a centre for political and social networking. The estate's proximity to Chester, combined with the family's extensive London holdings, allowed them to maintain influence in both rural and urban spheres, a dual power base that few other aristocratic families could match. Furthermore, Eton Hall underwent several transformations before its Victorian reimagining. William Samwell executed a significant rebuilding from 1675 to 1682, establishing the hall's prominence. From 1803 to 1814, William Porden reimagined the house in Gothic Revival style, marking the first major architectural shift toward the Gothic aesthetic that would later define the estate. By 1870, the Grosvenor family's influence extended far beyond their ancestral Cheshire estates. It would be time to build a grand home in line with their contemporary status. By 1870, with the Grosvenor family's wealth and influence at its height, Hugh Lupus Grosvenor, then the third Marquess of Westminster, sought an architect capable of transforming their ancestral seat into a statement of Victorian grandeur. Their choice fell on Alfred Waterhouse, who had risen to national prominence after winning the competition to design the Manchester Assize Court in 1859. Through subsequent commissions, including Manchester Town Hall and the Natural History Museum in London, Waterhouse had established himself as a master of Gothic Revival architecture, known for combining medieval inspiration with modern functionality. During the construction period, the family's status was further elevated when Hugh Lupus Grosvenor became the first Duke of Westminster in 1874. This new dukedom recognised their position among Britain's elite, a status built upon the successful development of London's Mayfair and Belgravia districts. Waterhouse's commission encompassed exacting requirements that reflected both family needs and Victorian sensibilities: spaces for entertaining, housing art collections, and accommodating the extensive household operations necessary for a great estate. The construction, beginning in 1870, represented one of Victorian England's most substantial private building projects. The building programme proceeded methodically, with skilled craftsmen executing the Gothic detailing that characterised the structure. Waterhouse's design included a freestanding chapel and bell tower, demonstrating his mastery of Gothic Revival elements developed through his previous ecclesiastical and civic projects. As work progressed, the emerging building began to dominate the Cheshire landscape, its Gothic Revival features creating an imposing presence that reflected the family's status. The project's ambition was reflected in its final cost of £803,000, an astronomical sum for the period that demonstrated the Grosvenor family's immense resources. The project's scale was remarkable, even by Victorian standards, requiring an extensive team of craftsmen and specialists working continuously over the 12-year construction period. The interior work, showcased the finest Victorian craftsmanship throughout the state rooms, family apartments and service areas, while the exterior commanded attention with its dramatic architectural presence. By 1882, the completed structure stood as one of the largest private residences in Victorian Britain, containing numerous bedrooms, staterooms and family apartments. The staterooms were designed to accommodate the extensive social obligations of a family at the pinnacle of society, while the chapel and bell tower particularly showcased the high level of craftsmanship employed throughout the project. The service areas were carefully planned to support the efficient operation of a great Victorian household, with domestic staff quarters and working spaces arranged to maintain the smooth running of the estate. The new Eaton Hall emerged as one of Victorian England's most ambitious architectural achievements, its scale reflecting both the technical capabilities of the age and the resources of one of Britain's wealthiest families. Waterhouse had created a masterwork that perfectly expressed the confidence and ambition of the Victorian era. Yet neither architect nor patron could foresee how dramatically the role of such houses would change in the century to come. The completion of Waterhouse's Eaton Hall in 1882 marked the beginning of a new era for the estate. The massive project, commissioned during the tenure of the second Marquess of Westminster, demonstrated both the family's immense wealth and their commitment to architectural excellence. Its creation coincided with a period of significant change for the Grosvenor family, as Hugh Lupus Grosvenor was elevated to become the first Duke of Westminster in 1874 during the construction period. The transition between generations brought changes to the estate's development. When Hugh Bendor Grosvenor succeeded as second Duke of Westminster in 1899, he continued the family tradition of estate improvement. His tenure saw the commissioning of architect Detmar Blow to undertake work on the gardens, demonstrating the ongoing evolution of the estate even after the completion of Waterhouse's masterwork. The Grosvenor family's position rested on their extensive property holdings in both London and Cheshire. The careful management of their London estates, particularly in Mayfair and Belgravia, provided the financial foundation that supported their country seat. This combination of urban and rural holdings distinguished them among Britain's aristocratic families. The scale of Waterhouse's creation reflected the social expectations placed upon one of Britain's wealthiest families. With over 150 rooms, the house was equipped to function both as a private residence and as a setting for the social and political gatherings expected of a family of their standing. By the early 20th century, Eaton Hall stood as one of Britain's greatest country houses, its Gothic revival architecture an icon of Victorian ambition and wealth. However, the social and economic landscape of Britain was changing, and the elaborate lifestyle that Waterhouse's design had been created to support would face unprecedented challenges in the decades to come, as world events and social change reshaped the role of Britain's great country houses. During the early 20th century, Britain's great country houses faced unprecedented challenges. By the 1930s, houses that had stood for generations were being demolished at an alarming rate. The forces behind this transformation were numerous. Death duties had increased dramatically, while income from agricultural estates declined. The availability of domestic staff, once plentiful and affordable, had dwindled as alternative employment offered better wages and greater freedom. Many aristocratic families found themselves asset-rich but cash-poor, their vast houses becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. When war erupted in 1914, Eaton Hall, like many of Britain's great houses, was transformed from private residence to institutional use. Initially serving as an all-ranks military hospital, by 1916 it had become a Red Cross facility caring for wounded servicemen until 1918. This conversion from domestic grandeur to utilitarian purpose marked the beginning of a profound change in the building's character and condition. The interwar years brought little relief to Britain's country house owners. By 1940, death duties had increased to 65%, and between 1946 and 1949 they were raised twice more. Across Britain, Ancestral seats were being abandoned, sold or demolished. By 1955, country houses were being lost at the rate of one every 5 days. Some owners, attempting to avoid these punitive taxes, gave their properties to their heirs, but wartime casualties often complicated these arrangements. World War II saw Eaton Hall once again pressed into service of the nation, functioning as a hospital until 1943. The Britannia Royal Naval College then occupied the hall from 1943 to 1946, followed by its use as an officer cadet training school until 1960. This extended period of institutional use, while patriotic, took a severe toll on both the building's fabric and its elaborate Victorian interiors. Throughout this period, approximately 1,200 country houses were demolished in England alone. The destruction was not confined to minor properties. Even buildings of exceptional architectural merit fell victim to the changing times. For Eaton Hall, years of institutional use had left their mark. After serving as an officer cadet training school until 1960, the building stood empty, its future uncertain. By 1960, the practical challenges of maintaining Waterhouse's creation had become overwhelming, and, combined with rising maintenance costs and increased income taxation, the upkeep of such vast properties had become increasingly untenable. The institutional use over decades had taken a severe toll on both the building's structure and its interiors. Structural surveys revealed extensive dry rot throughout the building. The cost estimates for essential repairs proved prohibitive, particularly given the building's impracticality for modern family life. In 1961, with the 5th Duke of Westminster still a minor, his trustees took the drastic step of demolishing most of Waterhouse's grand Gothic creation. Workmen arrived at Eaton Hall with pneumatic drills and wrecking balls, methodically reducing Waterhouse's turrets, cloisters, and finely carved stonework to rubble. Salvageable materials found their way to architectural yards, while ornamental fragments were scattered or sold off quietly. Dust lingered in the air as the grand interiors, once graced by royalty and statesmen, gave way to broken plaster and exposed timber. It wasn't until 1968, well after Eaton's disappearance, that legislation demanded explicit permissions for destroying historically significant structures. Not all traces vanished, though. The chapel and clock tower were spared, providing a tenuous link to Eaton's Victorian splendour. In their shadow, architect John Denys designed a modern residence clad in white travertine. This new structure offered comfort and practicality for a changing world, but it lacked the poetic grandeur of its predecessor. By the late 1980s, as Britain's attitude toward heritage evolved, the Grosvenors reassessed their country seat. Recognizing the growing appreciation for historical continuity and classical aesthetics, the 6th Duke of Westminster commissioned architect John Simpson. Between 1989 and 1991, Simpson encased Denys' modern house in a neo-French classical style, blending new materials with old-world refinement and restoring a sense of architectural gravitas to the estate. During the 1990s, Eaton Hall's character shifted once more. While still a private residence, the estate opened its gardens for charity events, public visits, and community gatherings, ensuring that Eaton remained woven into the social fabric. Though Waterhouse's masterpiece had vanished decades earlier, Eaton Hall endured, reshaped, adapted, and still central to the enduring legacy of the Grosvenor family. Although many visitors to Britain use their vacation to rush their way into iconic structures such as Westminster Abbey or Buckingham Palace, a little farther afield, tucked away in the quaint landscapes of the British countryside, stand some of the most opulent and historically rich country houses. For the uninitiated, a country house in Britain refers to a large and stately residence formerly, or currently, occupied by the aristocracy or gentry, often surrounded by expansive grounds and gardens. Indeed, these grand estates are more than just historical landmarks. They are dynamic, cultural sites open to the public, offering a window into their luxurious architecture and aristocratic past. Thus, in today's episode, we'll immerse you in the best treasures of the British countryside, inviting you to immerse yourself in their elegance and historical significance, as we describe. The top 10 most opulent British country houses that you can visit today. Number 10. Plas Newydd, Anglesey, Wales. 10th on our list of the most opulent British country houses comes Plas Newydd, located on the Isle of Anglesey in Wales, and it is renowned for its stunning location overlooking the Menai Strait. Now, the estate's history dates back to the 13th century when it was originally known as Llwyn y Moel. Over time, it evolved into a significant residence under the ownership of the Marquess of Anglesey, and the first Marquess, who gained fame for his role in the Battle of Waterloo, transformed the estate into a prominent country house. The estate underwent substantial changes in the 19th century under the direction of the fifth Marquess, and his vision included a range of alterations and additions, such as the conversion of the family chapel into a private theatre. This period also saw the Great Anglesey Sale, a notable event in British estate history that involved the auction of several estates and properties, including Plas Newydd. Architecturally, Plas Newydd showcases a blend of Gothic revival and classical styles. The design features elements typical of the Gothic revival movement, including pointed arches and elaborate stonework, combined with classical proportions and symmetry. The sixth Marquess made further enhancements, incorporating modern touches while preserving the estate's historic charm. And one of the most striking features of Plas Newydd is its dining room, which is adorned with a 17.5-metre-long mural by artist Rex Whistler. The mural, painted in 1937, is a trompe-l'oeil masterpiece that cleverly combines the Snowdonia landscape with whimsical, fantastical elements. This work reflects the artistic and cultural ambitions of the time, providing a unique visual experience for visitors. Managed by the National Trust, Plas Newydd is a popular destination for those interested in exploring its rich history and enjoying its beautiful gardens and woodlands. The estate's grounds include expansive lawns, well-maintained flower beds, and serene woodlands, creating a picturesque setting that attracts visitors throughout the year. Number 9. Harewood House, Yorkshire, England. Harewood House, situated in West Yorkshire, is a prime example of Georgian architectural splendour. Now, the construction of the house began in 1759 and was completed in 1771. Designed by architect John Carr and later expanded by Robert Adam, the estate exemplifies the elegance and sophistication of the Georgian period, and the house's exterior is characterized by its classical proportions, with a grand facade that features a symmetrical design and elaborate detailing. Inside, Harewood House is renowned for its exceptional collection of Thomas Chippendale furniture. Chippendale, a prominent 18th century cabinet maker, crafted several pieces for the estate, including the celebrated Diana and Minerva commode. These pieces showcase the Rococo and neoclassical styles that were popular during the period. Furthermore, the art collection at Harewood House is equally impressive, featuring works from various periods and styles. The collection includes pieces by Italian Renaissance artists, such as Raphael and Titian, as well as works by British artists like J.M.W. Turner and El Greco. In addition to its historical art collection, the Contemporary Art Gallery, established in 1989, continues to showcase modern works by renowned artists, including David Hockney and Anthony Gormley. Harewood House also boasts beautifully landscaped gardens designed by Capability Brown. The gardens include expansive lawns, serene lakes, and meticulously designed flower beds, creating a harmonious balance between natural beauty and architectural grandeur. The estate's commitment to preserving and showcasing its historical and artistic heritage makes it a significant cultural landmark. With that all said, let's go even farther north for our next entry on the list of most opulent British country houses. Number 8. Hopetoun House, South Queensferry, Scotland. Hopetoun House, situated near South Queensferry, Scotland, stands as a testament to the grandeur of early 18th century architecture and historical legacy. And the construction of this magnificent estate began in 1699, overseen by Sir William Bruce, a key figure in Scotland's architectural evolution. Bruce, known for his adherence to classical architecture, crafted Hopetoun House with a symmetrical facade and proportionate grandeur, hallmark traits of the classical style prevalent in the late 17th and early 18th centuries. The house was completed in 1707, setting a high standard for Scottish country houses. Now, in the mid-18th century, the estate underwent significant enhancements under the guidance of William Adam, a prominent Scottish architect renowned for his neoclassical designs. Adam's work included the introduction of elaborate plasterwork and ornamental detailing, which enriched the house's architectural narrative. His contributions were pivotal in transitioning Hopetoun House from its initial classical roots to a more ornate neoclassical style, reflecting the evolving tastes of the era. And the interior of Hopetoun House is equally striking, showcasing a grand entrance hall adorned with intricate plasterwork and a magnificent staircase. The staterooms are resplendent with period-specific opulence, featuring richly decorated interiors that mirror the grandeur of 18th century aristocracy. Notably, the estate houses an impressive collection of fine art and antiques, offering insight into the aesthetic preferences of its historical occupants. Additionally, the grounds surrounding Hopetoun House are an integral part of its appeal. Designed by William Adam, the landscaped park includes a meticulously maintained walled garden that historically served as a space for cultivating vegetables and flowers. Additionally, the estate features the remnants of Alnwick Castle, adding a layer of historical depth to the landscape. Since 1974, the Hopetoun House Preservation Trust has managed the estate, ensuring its continued role as a cultural and historical landmark. Visitors to Hopetoun House are afforded a unique opportunity to experience Scotland's rich architectural heritage and historical grandeur. Now, let's stay in mighty Scotland for a bit longer, shall we, and investigate the next country house on our list. Number 7. Dumfries House, Ayrshire, Scotland. Dumfries House stands as another quintessential example of Georgian architecture and is celebrated as one of Britain's most exquisite stately homes. The estate was designed by the eminent Adam brothers, Robert, James and William, who were key figures in the neoclassical movement during the 18th century. And their design for Dumfries House is a symbol of their mastery of classical proportions and symmetrical facades, hallmarks of the neoclassical style. The house, completed in 1759 for the 5th Earl of Dumfries, is renowned not only for its architectural elegance, but also for its unparalleled collection of Chippendale furniture. Thomas Chippendale, the aforementioned preeminent cabinet maker of the 18th century, crafted a suite of furniture for the estate that remains one of the most complete and historically significant collections of his work. And this collection includes intricately designed chairs, tables, and other pieces that showcase Chippendale's innovative craftsmanship. Now, the architectural features of Dumfries House include its harmonious proportions and elegant detailing, such as the delicate plasterwork and the grandiose use of columns, which are quintessential elements of the Adams style. Additionally, the estate is situated within meticulously landscaped gardens, which are designed to enhance and reflect the grandeur of the house. These gardens were typical of the period, blending formal symmetry with naturalistic elements, creating a picturesque setting that complements the house's elegance. Therefore, Dumfries House has become a focal point for conservation efforts, dedicated to preserving its architectural integrity and historical value. The estate's commitment to maintaining its original design while adapting to contemporary needs underscores its role as a living testament to 18th century elegance and craftsmanship. It remains a prime example of how historic properties can retain their charm and significance while serving modern purposes. And the next place on our list is even more well-known, as we return back to England itself. Number 6. Cliveden House, Berkshire, England. Cliveden House, located in Berkshire, is a historic estate known for its grandeur and opulence. Originally constructed in 1666 by the 2nd Earl of Orkney, the house has seen several transformations over the centuries, and the most notable change occurred in the 19th century when architect Charles Barry, renowned for designing the Houses of Parliament, undertook a major remodelling. Barry's work introduced elements of Victorian splendour and classical revival to the estate, reshaping Cliveden into a symbol of luxury and sophistication. Today, Cliveden is an exclusive hotel set amidst 376 acres of beautifully maintained gardens and woodlands managed by the National Trust. The estate offers guests a picturesque retreat with its lush landscapes, ornate fountains and grand statues. And Cliveden has a storied history of hosting notable figures, including Queen Victoria and various celebrities, adding to its historical allure. It is also infamous for its involvement in the Profumo affair of the 1960s, a scandal that brought significant public attention and intrigue to the estate. Now, the architectural style of Cliveden blends classical revival elements with Victorian opulence, creating an atmosphere of timeless elegance. The surrounding gardens, with their intricate pathways and expansive lawns, enhance the estate's grandeur and historical charm. Today, Cliveden House continues to attract visitors seeking a blend of luxury, history, and natural beauty, embodying a legacy of sophistication and refinement. And yet, we'll have to go back up to Scotland to get a peek at the next British country house on our list. Number 5. Flaws Castle, Roxburghshire, Scotland. Flaws Castle, located in the picturesque Roxburghshire region of Scotland, is distinguished as the largest inhabited house in Scotland. And this particular castle was constructed between 1721 and 1740 by the aforementioned architect William Adam, whose design exemplifies the Scottish baronial style. This architectural style combines medieval fortress elements with a romanticized vision of chivalric architecture, featuring turrets, crenellations, and expansive facades that evoke a fairy tale-like charm. The grand architecture of Flaws Castle is complemented by its beautifully restored gardens, which include a walled garden reflecting the Victorian era's passion for horticulture. These gardens are meticulously curated with intricate pathways, carefully chosen plantings, and stunning views of the surrounding landscape. Inside, Flaws Castle is equally impressive, showcasing period furnishings, art, and decorative details that highlight the opulence of the 18th and 19th centuries. Furthermore, the historical significance of Flaws Castle extends beyond its architectural splendor, and it remains a family residence and a symbol of Scotland's rich heritage. The ongoing preservation efforts at the estate ensure that its historical and cultural legacy continues to be appreciated by visitors. Flaws Castle serves not only as a prime example of Scottish baronial design, but also as a vibrant reminder of how historical properties can remain integral to contemporary life while honouring their storied past. Number 4. Osborne House, Isle of Wight. Osborne House, situated on the Isle of Wight, epitomises the ideal of a serene royal retreat envisioned by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. Purchased in 1845, the estate was transformed into a private sanctuary where the royal family could escape the pressures of public life. Designed by Prince Albert in the Italian Renaissance style, Osborne House reflects the couple's admiration for classical architecture and their desire for a secluded yet grand retreat. And the architectural design of Osborne House, with its symmetrical facade and elaborate decorative elements, mirrors the Renaissance influences that Prince Albert held in high regard. Collaborating with the esteemed builder Thomas Cubitt, Prince Albert saw his vision materialize with the house's completion in 1851, and the addition of 2 Belvedere towers further enhances the house's majestic appearance, adding to its grandeur. Inside Osborne House, the Victorian design is showcased through richly embellished rooms. The drawing room, for instance, features opulent ceilings, ornate mouldings, and luxurious drapes, providing a glimpse into the sophisticated lifestyle of the royal family. The dining room, equally impressive, boasts a grand dining table set beneath a magnificent chandelier, surrounded by intricately carved wooden chairs and sumptuous tapestries. This space reflects both the grandeur of the Victorian era and the personal tastes of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. And the private quarters reveal a more intimate side of the royal couple's lives. Queen Victoria's bedroom, with its soft colours and delicate furnishings, contrasts with Prince Albert's study, which is characterised by dark woods and a scholarly atmosphere. These rooms offer insights into the individual preferences of the royal couple. Osborne House's grounds are equally captivating, featuring formal gardens with meticulously maintained flower beds, intricate parterres, and ornamental fountains. Prince Albert's involvement in the garden's design highlights his extensive knowledge of landscaping. The estate also includes the whimsical Swiss cottage built for the royal children, reflecting their playful side. The private beach, with views of the Solent, provided a serene escape, complemented by Queen Victoria's ornate bathing machine. Today, managed by English Heritage, Osborne House stands as a preserved historical site, offering visitors a window into the private lives of one of Britain's most iconic royal couples. Number 3. Highclere Castle, Hampshire. Highclere Castle, renowned globally as the filming location for the acclaimed TV series Downton Abbey, certainly stands as a quintessential example of the English country house. Designed by the distinguished architect Charles Barry, the castle was constructed between 1842 and 1847, and Barry, celebrated for his role in the design of the Palace of Westminster, embraced the Tudor revival style for Highclere, creating a structure that features elaborate detailing and a majestic facade reminiscent of the Tudor period. Now, the architectural style of Highclere Castle reflects a deep reverence for the Tudor era, with its symmetrical layout, steeply pitched roofs, and decorative elements such as ornate chimneys and intricate stonework. The facade is distinguished by its imposing central tower and elegant use of Gothic revival motifs, adding to its dramatic appearance. Barry's design incorporated traditional Tudor elements while integrating modern Victorian touches, creating a blend that is both historic and contemporary. Inside, Highclere Castle is equally impressive, showcasing elaborate Victorian interiors that highlight the opulence of the era, and the library, a focal point of the castle, boasts an extensive collection of over 5,000 books and features intricately carved woodwork and antique furniture that evoke the grandeur of the 19th century. And the drawing room, with its richly adorned furnishings and delicate decorations, reflects the taste of the Victorian aristocracy, offering a glimpse into the lifestyle of England's elite. The castle's grounds, designed by the renowned landscape architect Lancelot Capability Brown, extend the estate's charm into its surrounding landscape. Brown's design for the parkland and gardens emphasizes natural beauty and grandeur, featuring rolling lawns, serene lakes, and meticulously planned woodland areas. These landscapes not only enhance the aesthetic appeal of Highclere, but also contribute to its historical significance as a model of classical English garden design. Thus, Highclere Castle's rich historical tapestry, architectural splendor, and picturesque setting make it an important cultural landmark. Beyond its role in popular culture, the estate offers a window into the life of the English aristocracy and showcases the intricate artistry of Victorian and Tudor revival architecture. It continues to attract visitors from around the world, providing an immersive experience into England's aristocratic heritage and architectural legacy. Number 2. Chatsworth House, Derbyshire. Chatsworth House, often dubbed the Palace of the Peak, stands as an architectural and cultural gem nestled in Derbyshire, England. And the origins of this magnificent estate can be traced back to the 16th century, but its most significant architectural developments occurred during the 17th and 18th centuries. The first Duke of Devonshire, who played a pivotal role in shaping its current grandeur, oversaw extensive renovations that transformed Chatsworth into a showcase of classical and Baroque styles. Now, the facade of Chatsworth House is a prime example of classical architecture with its symmetrical design, elaborate detailing, and imposing proportions. This design ethos was emblematic of the time and aimed to reflect the opulence and authority of the Duke's family. And the house's exterior is characterized by its grand portico, ornate stone carvings, and an impressive series of columns that enhance its stately presence. Inside, Chatsworth offers an opulent array of staterooms, each decorated with exquisite attention to detail. The collection of art housed within these rooms includes works by legendary artists such as Rembrandt and Van Dyck. This remarkable assemblage reflects not only the refined tastes of the Devonshire family, but also their substantial investment in preserving and showcasing fine art. But the opulence extends to the interiors, where intricate plasterwork, grand fireplaces, and sumptuous furnishings create a vivid representation of aristocratic life. The estate's gardens are equally noteworthy, having been designed by the aforementioned legendary landscape architect Capability Brown. These gardens feature a range of stunning elements, including the cascade, a dramatic series of cascading water features that add a dynamic visual component to the landscape. The Emperor Fountain, another highlight, shoots water to a remarkable height of 295 feet, creating a breathtaking spectacle. The grounds also include meticulously maintained flower beds, expansive lawns, and serene woodland areas, all contributing to a varied and picturesque landscape. Chatsworth House continues to be a vibrant cultural destination, hosting numerous events and exhibitions throughout the year. And its commitment to preserving its historical significance while embracing contemporary art and culture ensures that it remains an engaging and relevant location for visitors. The estate, thus, not only offers a glimpse into England's aristocratic past, but also provides a platform for celebrating both historical and modern artistic achievements. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the #1 most opulent British country house. Number 1, Blenheim Palace, Oxfordshire. Blenheim Palace, located in Oxfordshire, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site renowned for its exemplary English Baroque architecture. Constructed between 1705 and 1722, the palace was built to honour John Churchill, the first Duke of Marlborough, for his victory at the Battle of Blenheim. And the design of the palace is attributed to Sir John Vanbrugh, with contributions from his associate Nicholas Hawksmoor, who together created a monumental example of Baroque design. Now, the grand facade of Blenheim Palace is characterised by its imposing scale and intricate ornamentation, typical of Baroque architecture. The use of bold columns, grand arches, and elaborate carvings reflects the grandeur and ambition of the era. The palace's design integrates classical elements with a dramatic flair, emphasising the importance and status of its patron, the Duke of Marlborough. And inside Blenheim Palace, the state apartments are adorned with an impressive collection of portraits, tapestries, and period furnishings, each piece contributing to the palace's historical narrative. The Long Library, a highlight of the interior, houses a vast collection of over 10,000 books, underscoring the intellectual and cultural pursuits of the Marlborough family. The library's design, with its high ceilings and elaborate woodwork, enhances the opulence of the palace's interiors. The grounds of Blenheim Palace, initially laid out in a formal style, were later transformed, again by the celebrated landscape architect Lancelot Capability Brown. His design introduced a more naturalistic approach, incorporating a vast lake and picturesque landscapes that harmonise with the palace's grand architecture. The landscape gardens and expansive parkland offer a scenic backdrop, enhancing the overall experience of the estate. Blenheim Palace stands as a symbol of British history, being one of the main residences of none other than Sir Winston Churchill, and architectural grandeur, embodying the legacy of the broader Churchill family and the artistic achievements of the Baroque period.